Traders out there, who's ready to get things started? It's another bright day right here, and we're about to get CPI and get ready because strap in. It's going to be a wild ride today, guys. We'll see what happens with this report. Of course, back and forth action coming yesterday. A little bit of a dip on majority of stocks, but some stocks hung in there. Let's take a look here as we get our report there. Coming in here now, CPI for the month over month at 0.4 versus a 0.3 estimate. Year over year coming in at 2.9 versus a 2.9 estimate. So big increase in the yearly, right? It hit the estimate, but it's still an increase. Let's see how the market reacts to this. Let's go to the market right now. I'm taking a look. We're getting a little bit of a lift off here, so I'm ready to actually trade this. Let's see if we can make a little trade in AMD here. AMD is the one that I want off of this report. Let's see if I can get it here. All right, going to try to take 100 shares right now off of this report and see what happens after that. Trying to put an order out there on the bid there. Let's see if I can get 75 out there. I'm getting able to get much right now. A little bit of restriction there. Let me see if I can even get 25 out here. There you go. Got a little bit there of AMD to start it off here. Let's go ahead. I'm going to share the screen here. Look to get a little bit more, but just wanted at least a little piece here to see what would happen with the action. Let's go to it. Let's go right to my main screen here. You guys heard the news just come in there. CPI report coming in here and coming in right in line, right? So it's in line here. I'm going to take a deeper look into the CPI report. I'm going to show you exactly how I do that, and we can actually walk you through that today. Today, we're going to do a little bit of a learning lesson. All right, so we'll see what happens if the SPY does take down that low. We can see right now we have a wick to the bottom and a wick to the top end. Really got to see which way the SPY breaks here. Got to be careful with my trade. Not going to risk too much. That's why it's only a smaller position right now. 157, I think, can undercut slightly to 156.90s, but after that, we got to be careful because we start to lose more than a buck here. We got to be careful, right? So you can see around 25, but we can hang in here. Look to see if it reverses right back up. But definitely getting a little bit of some shake here. Let's go to the VXX, see what's going on there. Are we getting some spike in volatility? We can also play that way, right? We'll see what happens with this. The report was in line, but it is showing that inflation is spiking. And the question is, what will that do to interest rates, right? Those are the types of things that we'll be talking about today on the report. So let's keep it going. I'm going to get towards here, the CPI report. A lot of the times I just pull it up right from the Fed, guys, and that's the best way to go about it. Let's do this activity together, right? Because I'm literally doing this in real time with you guys, so let's do it, right? So CPI, of course, you can go right to the website here. I'll even give you guys the link here if you guys want to go ahead and check it out here. There's the link right there in the chat. If you guys want to go ahead and just click on that link to take a look at what you're going to see, then you can click on the actual report. So what I usually had the tendency of doing is, of course, using good old AI. We can use AI together, right? Why not do it? All right, so we just going to copy. Literally, I don't even stress about where I'm copying. I just hit select all, right? Of course, I'm going to go ahead and I'll do this on the side here. So I'll pull it up here just so I can get it open here. All right, stay logged out. Use a different one here that I can just use. So then just tell me high level summary and hit paste, man. Look at the thing work, right? So there we go. We get a nice little summary already coming at us, right? And we get what? Key drivers, inflation monthly, right? Shelter increased 0.4, the largest contributor. The one place where we're not seeing prices come down, which is shelter. That has never gone down. Everyone's been looking to see if that would ever trickle down. It was at 0.3. Now we're at 0.4. That's not looking good. Food also coming in and playing in a factor, and gasoline starting to come up. So yeah, that's going to definitely hurt and increase inflation. Core CPI, excluding the food and energy, at 0.3, same in July. Increases there, airline fares, used cars, apparel, new vehicles. Decreases medical care, recreation, and communications. So we'll see how this kind of reacts. The market kind of bouncing back a little bit there. AMD already starting to work its way back. It did slightly undercut that 157, We'll look to see if we start to come back here. 12-month inflation breakdown. Also, core less than food at 3.1, food at 3.2. Notable year-over-year increases. This is where you want to pay attention to like the bigger trends. And I think it's very important to catch this, right? So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see that better. There we go. Let's make it real big. So, of course, when you look at this, this is going to tell us like what's the biggest things that are affecting right now year over year. Used cars up 6% in trucks. So prices of vehicles, right? Just definitely more expensive. Medical care services also going up higher. Motor vehicle insurance definitely taking off there. And household furnishings, of course, that could be tariff related. Shelter, of course, sticking in there, right? Of course, we can go into different outlook there, but the next release will be on October 15th, which will be after, of course, our potential rate cut. Now from there, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll go to the CME Fed Watch tool. We can go ahead and just pull that up. You can do that all the time, guys. That's easy. That's CME Fed Watch tool, and then just literally just go to the first one there. So that's what I always like to look at, guys. If you're not looking at that, you can also look at the futures, right? But let's see how it was affected. This data does take a little bit to update. So right here, you can see it's only updated to 725. So we'll see right now in about 5 minutes, this should update and give us a different outlook on the interest rates. All right, we'll take a look at that in a second here. I'll just pull that down. But yes, as you guys can see, CPI coming in here. Now the market coming a little bit, it doesn't know where to go. Let's just say that it's range bound and stuck right now in the hourly. I think we got to wait to see this play out here. Of course, I got a small position, so not going to stress it. It's in the day trade. Can always add to this position. Really wanted like 100 shares there, but let's see if AMD gets going today. We'll go to the playbook. The playbook is a little bit interesting because, of course, back and forth action. Initial jobless claims did come in a little bit higher. Also revised the prior to 237 versus 236. So yes, jobless claims are getting the spike. So we're going to have to continue to watch that as we see the deterioration in the jobs market. All right, we got a lot to talk about. We got the sunrise report to talk about. We got all the things that we need to be looking at out there. But yeah, get after it, guys. It's going to be a wild one. Let's take a look out there, get a little bit of coffee going here, take a look around into the market here. You guys know where you're at. It's another beautiful day right here on Trade the Pool. Got a lot to take a look at. Let's go, guys. All right, here, the SPY kind of hanging in there. Let's go to some different players here and see how they're reacting. NVIDIA up, I think. Let's go take a look at NVIDIA. This is one that I will keep an eye out for also to see if it starts to get going. Of course, Oracle. Good rip yesterday, actually held a lot of the gains. So I'm wondering, can it hold gains and do some others start to play catch up? Microsoft, another one that I'm keeping a close eye today. I think the big boys want to take another step up. Let's see what happens today. Rotation was on yesterday. Can it stay on today? And will we get led by big tech names? Of course, we'll take a look at also some small cap names. How are those small cap names doing today? Let's take a look at my scanner here. We got XN. Ooh, this thing got up to 30 in the early morning, but has been declining ever since, guys. So we'll see what happens there. At 708, this thing went from like $4 to $30. Pre-market playing has probably been one of the best ways to get after these penny stocks. So if you're playing the penny stock game, XN, of course, we've seen some of the other ones run already. How is the QMM trade? Let's take a look at that. Hanging in there at the 105. Wow, that is wild. Yesterday was still kind of pushing, right? It got up there. It got up there to 157. I think it's starting to slow down a little bit, but hey, that's just how it's going to be. We'll see what happens in BMNR. Of course, one that I was watching yesterday, BMNR, looking to see if it was going to get the spike. It did spike yesterday, but then just started to decline all into the afternoon. Just trying to hold in there today. Can it get another run? We'll have to wait and find out. One thing to note, you do see the MACD starting to perk a little bit. So I'd keep an eye on it. Nothing that I'm going to trade today, but I'm going to keep an eye on it. All right, guys, we'll go to trades that I do like, right? So I really like this setup. I was actually sized in yesterday in the swing account on this setup, and it just didn't go. But now that we're getting the CPI report, it's already kind of perking at this $10. I've been waiting to see this one break. It's really pretty. This is the type of chart that I really like. So let's see if this can really break out here. UMAC, pretty looking chart, man. I need to put that one out on Twitter. It's just so pretty, guys. But let's keep going. We got a lot to do out here, guys. It's going to be a fun day. Going to look to see if we get some good moves in, of course, some of these drone players. RCAT is another one that I could look at. They all look good there. AV is another one to kind of watch to see if this goes higher today. So these are all different drone players that you can be watching. Yesterday, good report. This one kind of played in, gave you a nice bullish engulfing candle right back to the upside. I really like the setup here. If this goes higher, I'm also watching that UMAC. And of course, I've talked about the drone players and how that's coming into play. So if there's one play I want to nail, it's this one, guys. So I need to be ready for the market open, especially for UMAC. I want to nail that one on the swing. And if I can nail that one, maybe, just maybe, we can get finally one of these swings funded. I keep getting really close, and I think it's just a matter of now just being consistent at this point, right? I keep fighting kind of the resistance. Got to break that resistance today. Let me know in the chat how you guys are doing on your evals and how you guys are battling in there. It's always not an easy route, right? But there's one thing for certain. I'm here battling along with you. Good morning, Vic. How we doing out there? It's good to see you, man. I think buy the rumor, sell the news today. We'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting one, and we'll see if Apple could get moving. That's one that I'm also watching yesterday. I took a little bit of a dip buy opportunity. I lost like $20, but just to try to see if it bottom out around here, the 227. I need to see this recover 230s. That's going to be the area that I'd play Apple, but right now it's still declining in the pre-market. Let's go to the SPY here. SPY still just playing within the range. And I think we got to watch that range get broken. I don't want to go to the short time frames too much because it's going to drive me a little bit into a direction. But you can see, what are we doing? We're just hanging out in between those wicks. We got to see, where do we get a close on those wicks? All right, let's keep going, guys. We'll see what else is out there. There's so much to take a look at in the market today. And I'll tell you one thing. I'm going to keep it moving and look around for different trades. One of the ones I'll be watching, of course, is Tesla for the rinse and repeat trade, right? Why not? Why not rinse and repeat, guys? So we'll see if we can get that one. The next one up here, Tesla. Yesterday nailed this trade to the upside. We'll see if we can get this trade to go right back. It actually pulled back with the market once the market started to pull back. But what do I see here? I see a couple attempts to the highs, right? And pretty much 3 attempts. So we look for the 4th, right? I look at this all the time. Now I want to see something come up in this area and attempt to break out through the 360. If it doesn't get through the 360s, that's going to tell me that we can tempt back to 350. So this looks great, guys. We'll see what... Sorry about that. We'll see what happens there, if we can get the break back towards the 360 here and for some continued upside action here. Tesla looking really good this morning. I like it for the rinse and repeat trade. AMD on the long side, of course, off the CPI. You guys already see me taking the trade on that. I'm more than willing to step up to the plate as we get closer and closer to the open to grab more shares. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at maybe starting to get in that, right? Because I want to see this go green on the hourly and get right back up to this high. So you see up here to the 165, that's essentially what I'm targeting. So I'm using this layer down here to see this hold, right? This 156.60, and then for it to drive back to that 165, we'll see if AMD can get popping right back. And I think this is a great spot, man. I'm actually even going to think of taking the swing also with this. So let's keep that in mind, right? I need to get it open here. So just give me 1 second here. I didn't have the swing account ready. Sometimes I don't open it too early, because if I open it too early, I get too excited in the morning. And the next thing you know, I'm in too many swing trades before the open. So I try to restrict myself from it sometimes. One of the ways that I restrict myself from it is just kind of like go away from it for a little bit and then see what happens, right? Still battling in that account, man. I keep getting up, and then get a little bit of a hit down, right? But that's just how it goes, guys. Got to keep it moving. Got to keep it moving and see what else I can come up with. Man, it's been long on that account, man. I can show you guys that account, how much I've been back and forth on it. But let's take a little peek here because you guys, I like to show you guys it, right? So let's take a little peek here at how this is looking. So here you guys can see the swing account there, guys, and you guys can see the advanced statistics. That's really what I want to show you guys, right? 235 trades, 54 profitable, 181 losses. So the percentage is right around 23% right now. The best profit being 668, the biggest loss being 309. So you guys see, I've been battling with this. Average profit 183, average loss $50. Expectancy about 394. The average trade size about 260. So maybe it's the sizing sometimes that we're going a little bit too much with, right? Overall, it's not bad. You know, been definitely battling here. Profit factor tells me that I need to start trying to be a little bit more consistent, right? Profit factor, of course, shows how many times the gross profit exceeded the gross loss, right? So a value greater than 1 is positive. We've been doing that. We're positive, but we need to be a little bit higher up, right? Long trades, a lot of long trades, only about 61 short trades, right? So I think that's important to kind of take a look at. Loss trades is about 181, right? And there's about 174 of them on the long side. But average duration, this I kind of like. It's about 5 hours. So definitely been holding these names for a long time. Just got to continue to watch, right? And then the risk to reward ratio, still staying within the range that I like, guys, for the swing here, 1 to 4 on the return. So I need to start sticking to that. If I get that return, 1 to 4, I take it. Take it and run, right? So keep that in mind, right? If I'm risking 40, right? What would that be? That's still what? That's just 160 on the upside, right? So it need to be a little bit quicker to the gun on the profits coming up. All right, guys, we'll see what happens on that one. Now we're starting to get a little bit of a lift there in AMD, and that's one that I'll be continuing to watch, right? So let's keep going, guys. I'll tell you guys that right now. Let's get my account opened up there because I got a little distracted. Was just showing you guys the statistics there and then didn't even get it actually up here. Let's go ahead. Let's get it up. The key is always I have the 2 accounts, right? You guys know it. I take a day trade one and I take a swing trade one, and I think that everyone should kind of do this. I really recommend taking a look into the swing trade accounts if you haven't tested it before, guys. Good morning to you guys out there. It's good to see you guys. Say hello if you're new to the show for any reason. We're going to really kick things off at 9 a.m., ready to really get towards the action. We should be with Michael Noss and other traders coming up here. All right, guys, market's still kind of hanging in there. We'll see what happens there. Let me go ahead and get this up here, see if I can get this started here. All right, just going to get... And if you guys don't know, you guys can always duplicate the program for kind of multiple uses, right? So I have 2 accounts. I have one that's going to do the swing, one that's going to do the day trade. And what I do is I just kind of duplicate, and then I have 2 kind of platforms, right, to work with. All right, we'll see what happens there. Now I got that ready to go. If I want it, if I need it, I can be ready to take the shot. All right, we'll see what happens on that. That would be with AMDL, and then other plays, of course, that I'm going to keep an eye out. UMAC, definitely on my alert there. And we'll just watch that one. I don't want to buy too early on that one, but I will be watching for that one to make a nice move on UMAC. And then, of course, AVA and others. AMDL, of course, was the way that I played this. I played it from like about $8. I played it from 918 to about 960s. And then it went to like 1040s, 1060s. Now we're back towards 990s. And I'm looking to see if we can make one more attempt towards support. That's going to be like around the 966 level. So I'm going to put an alert around some support levels and then also back above 10. I'm really watching AMDL to get back above 10 today. And then that can be one way that I can play a 2-time leverage name here in AMD. So the pullback that I talked to you guys is this gap fill, right? Can it come into that gap fill? I'd love to take it there at 67, but if it doesn't get there, I'm also willing to take it above 10, right? So, and then I also got the day trade on, right? So I could actually get more, actually, believe it or not, right now with the other account. So we'll see what happens here. Let's also add exposure here. Sometimes it doesn't, I don't have it on there, but I can add it. Of course, you guys can always kind of change things, right? If you guys haven't looked at before, if you click on this bar, you can add a whole bunch of different things. P&L offset, gross P&L, right? All those types of things. Position exposure, right? So I just added position exposure, and now you see here about almost $4,000 on that AMD position right now. So those types of things can help you understand your exposure. You can add that right there, right? And you can also take off net P&L, right? If I wanted to, and I've been thinking about just doing this just for kind of to show you guys also the mentality. What if we wanted to just say, all right, we're going to take off the net P&L and we're only going to use net P&L in percentage. So here it is, guys. We're going to look at this and we're going to color it, right? We can also color it. That's the fun part. You go to coloring, and then you can do like if it's green, you can do green and red actions on them. But yeah, there you guys have it. Net P&L. That can be one way to go about it. Now you're just looking at percentages, and you're not so concerned about the dollars, right? The dollar amounts. No, just worry about percentages, right? So let's say if I want to risk maybe about 2% on the trade, do I want to go ahead in the 4-to-1 outlook? Can I make 8% on the upside, right? That type of mentality, right? So maybe I'm only risking 1% for 4% on the upside. That type of mentality can help you, and you're just looking at percentages. All right, let's keep it going. We'll take a look around out in the market to see if anybody else is making some good trades this morning. And let's go to the scanners here too. I have a good scanner there on different ones out there, but I'm looking around out there. Pre-market trades. Let's go to open. We can talk about some trades. Let's go to the Sunrise Report, talk a little bit about some of the action that's going out in the market this morning. Let's kick it off. Okay. All right, guys, kicking things off there. We'll take a look into the overall market. I am seeing AMDL start to go up, and of course, 1, 2, 3. I think that's a hard bottom there at the recent drop there to 980. So I'm gonna take 100 shares here just to start taking a starter there, just in case it really starts to rocket out the gates here. So I'm willing to let go of this if I get the fill at 95. I'll let go of it at 85, just like $10, just to see if I get a little bit of a runner on 100 shares. If it doesn't get that pullback, like if it just starts to come back towards the 67, that's really what I'm looking for here. But the market actually starting to come back here and starting to drive. We'll talk a little bit more about the action, but definitely starting to recover. Now I need to see it take out that top line. Remember, we talked about this. Will it take out the top or bottom? Now the 15-minute candle has been in. Let's see if we start to get that lift. And boom, you guys just saw me get hit there on the starter for AMDL. I could also add there at 67s and kind of take an average down approach by going in with only 100 shares there right now. But you guys can see that's AMDL and then AMD. So essentially trading the same stock, but in different vehicles, right? Okay, we'll see what happens there. AMD and some others. Let's go talking about what's going on in the market this morning. There's a lot going on, and a lot of it was just more focused towards CPI. But first, I really like to take a moment here, guys. I think that this is an important day, guys. I know that you guys can maybe think about things as political or non-political, but definitely wanted to take a moment to recognize, of course, 9/11. I think 9/11 was a very important time for America as a country. I know that all you guys are not in America, but for us Americans, it was definitely a time where we were able to come together. And I think that a lot of people remember 9/11 for the tragedy. I try to remember it more for the togetherness and how, for maybe 1 second, one moment in time, we were all together as a country, as one, right? And that's really the America that I tend to believe in. So, all you guys remembering 9/11 today, I hope you guys understand and look around you and look for togetherness, not so much separation, because really that's how we can become a better country, is if we all drive in one direction. But when we're driving to the left and the right, well, the truth is that we're not going to end up anywhere. And a lot of times that just ends in violence. So, of course, whether you believe in him or not, political figure, of course, being assassinated yesterday, Charlie Kirk, definitely rest in peace. And regardless of the fact, definitely trying to bring voice to the youth. And I think that that's important, especially in a time where a lot of the government is ran by, of course, kind of older boomers, we might say. But definitely it's something to be remembered. So a slight moment of silence here for 9/11, and then we'll continue. All right, guys, let's get back to the market. Let's take a look at what's going on, right? Of course, a lot of action coming back and forth. This morning, we're going to talk a little bit about Open Door, but I've been waiting for my man Michael Noss to come on to talk about Open Door. So we'll leave that talk with him because I have a feeling he'll be super excited to talk about that. But of course, Oracle's historic surge yesterday was definitely a monster move. It added 244 billion in market cap Wednesday as the stock shared 36%. It was the best day since 1992. Of course, this was driven by AI-driven cloud growth and outlook cheered by Wall Street, of course. The rally spilled over to AVGO, AMD, and Micron, lifting the entire AI trade. Investors now view Oracle's blowout as another validation in the long-term AI infrastructure build-out. And I think this is important. Build out, right? Infrastructure. So continue to look at those types of trades as being the ones that can stay hot, right? So then we're talking more data centers. We're talking more like trades like GEV. And why GEV can separate itself from names like SMR, like it did yesterday, and CEG and VST, is because this is not just only about nuclear reactors, right? This is also has to do with kind of energy overall and energy renewables. Like GEV has a capability for these cloud computing infrastructure buildings to do gas turbines. So they use gas to create these huge turbines that cool down, of course, the infrastructure for the build. We'll see what happens there, guys. It's something definitely to keep an eye out for and look into the theme to kind of learn more. All right, we'll see what happens on that. We'll keep going into other names. Oxford Industries. Oxford Industries, OXM. This is not one that I trade often. It's in apparel manufacturing. It is getting a little bit of a bounce there. You guys can see this is definitely a kind of near bottoming. The only question is, will it actually kind of build off of this? So I will be watching to see if this kind of gets going above this. It really needs to start going above 50 to really look a lot better. But today could be that day where it starts to approach that move. This was, of course, the parent of Tommy Bahama and Lily Feltzer. But I don't really know much about Tommy Bahama. I don't really rock Tommy Bahama. So it did spike 15% after reporting strong EPS. So that's something definitely to take a look at. EPS expectations are, despite a softer revenue, tariff impact expected to be lower than feared. So the guidance for Q3 earnings was overwhelming, but investors focused on the stronger full year outlook. Alibaba was slipping this morning, and oh man, I should have just kind of kept on. But we'll see what happens. It now is right back up there as it did fall in when it first announced the offering and announced a proposed 3.2 billion zero coupon convertible bond maturing in 2032. The move, of course, raised investor concern about dilution, but of course, look at how FXI traded today, right back up there. Hey man, this is how it is with China. If you get out on the down days, you get crushed a lot of the times. The down days are more the days to get in. The up days are more to hold on tight and watch that rally continue. So Baba, Baidu, all on the radar out there. PDD, let's see if this finally starts to get going. JD, all names to keep an eye out for today. All right, Micron, of course, price target raised out there. I don't know if you guys caught this one. This gained in pre-market here as Citi hiked its price target to 175 from 150, maintaining a buy. Of course, Micron is up already 66% on the year to date. Analyst Christopher Danley expects EPS here at 262 on 11.2 billion in revenue. So keep your eyes on that action. All right, that's going to do it for that. Now let's go ahead. We'll keep an eye on Micron. It's been taking off, guys. So if you guys want to go with the strength, I think you continue to watch Micron kind of lead the rally here. AVGO, let's see if that gets going. AMD, you guys know how I feel about that. We're starting to move here. Let's see if we can start to get a lift off here. Of course, the market starting to approach that level that we've drawn really quickly. Now let's see if we actually clear it on the upside. Let's kick things off. Start that countdown and bring on the boys.
Google wants 200, baby.
You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money. It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at.
All right, traders, let's get it started. Let's bring on Michael Knowles. What's going on, man?
Another good gap up, I see. So whatever PI number came out this morning, they seem to like, I guess. So
no, CPI, man. It actually showed higher inflation, but the market goes up on higher inflation.
Because news doesn't matter. Right? There's no one out there who's
matter.
a billionaire because they're like, hey, I knew what CPI was going to be and I placed a trade based off it. So the trend continues, and the trend will continue until the shorts cry uncle, which
that's
doesn't
for
look
sure.
like it's anytime soon.
Yeah, I grabbed a little bit of AMD this morning. I'm taking a shot to see if we get some upside action. We'll see if we start to get a lift off here. Tesla is another one that I'm keeping a close eye. Definitely started the day good yesterday and then just kind of washed out with the market. So we had some names kind of hanging in there, but let's not get too far away. I know the market's reacting right now, so we'll keep an eye on that. But we have to talk, of course, about knocking on the door. Here it is. What happened to open, man? You still got that bad boy?
I'm still there for now.
Knocking on my door.
It's getting close. I've got an order for a big chunk of the position, just under 10.
Yeah.
And that's not psychological number, but it's also if you zoom out here, it's right this kind of junk that happened back here on the weekly chart. So right the low of before it did its initial rocket, when it got back to 10, it chilled out. So that will be almost a 4x on the position. So I'll take it. And I don't know, like it just feels like this data is not, it's the only new data we have. I'll just refresh this on open, which just seems in crazy to me, is that they shorted more. So again, we always talk about that it's not, the absolute number is big, right? It's 26%, but we also want to know where they started to short. And what really got me about open is you can see it was only a 10% short when it was above $1. So we know most of the people are short from around here, and then it spiked. So they, in this area, they've shorted more, which is just insanity to me. So around $4 to $5 they shorted more. So that's my out for the rest of this position, right? So I'll sell half at 10, I'll keep half, and then until they're out, I just don't see any reason to go. Now this number will be delayed, and it will have probably topped well before I get the okay to sell the rest. But that's what I'm going to use, as opposed to just a trailing stop based off price or something like that. I'm just same thing we're seeing with the market, right? Is that I want to be long as these guys are short. And eventually they'll have to capitulate and get flat. And that's when I think the rally could be over for a little bit. But until then, I'll take it. I'll drink a Bears tear.
Yeah,
Every
yeah,
day.
I agree. Adrian asking about, I didn't necessarily say that it was higher than expected, but higher. Yes, we are trending higher on CPI, right? Now back up to 2.9. If you guys, of
Oh yeah.
course, you
So
guys,
yeah, because it's really all about the expected number, right? Because that's
yeah.
what's priced in. If you, especially if you have a consensus across these big banks, the actual, because it's never. There's one thing
The idea though, I think, is the important part. It's not necessarily for the impact today. I don't think anybody was expecting the impact of today. It's more about the longer term battle that the Fed is facing, right? Because they're not supposed to cut rates when inflation's going higher. That's not the first mandate is always inflation. The second mandate is maximum employment,
Well,
right?
and the big thing that I always try to remind people, it has never ever been the obvious thing that stops a bull market. It's never the obvious thing, because if you see it coming, it's already priced in. It's always the thing that is unexpected, right? If you look at the very top in 2022, 2023, it was a war, right? And then with that came, right, supply shocks. Then before that, it was COVID. Then before that, it was 2019 was Trump just going insane one day and bashing JPOW. It's never, ever, ever the thing that everybody sees. Right now, there's always like one or two guys who get toted out after the fact. Think of the Big Short guys. Nobody saw that coming except like these three guys, and then they make a whole movie about them. So that's what I always just tell everyone, is that it's why I don't pay too much attention to this stuff, is because it's never ever in history been the thing that everybody sees coming that ends up being the sell off. So it's if you're going to study for what the top of the market's going to be, I think you just have to focus. Like, you got to be like Michael Burry in the Big Short movie, where he's like reading all these obscure contracts and stuff like that. Other than that, just follow price, shut out the noise, and follow some price. Now, I don't know. So again, in 11, right? So it is 9/11. At 11/11, generally speaking,
Yeah.
the floor shuts down.
Yes,
And
we are
for a
having a
moment,
floor shutdown moment already. I think it already happened.
I thought, yeah, I was just wondering when, because sometimes,
Yeah, I think
right,
they already did it, but let me just confirm here.
and price action can get a little wonky around there, right? Because you got a lot of market now. It was a bigger deal when I started trading, because obviously everything is more automated than it used to be. But I still notice that there sometimes can be some wonky ticks and wonky price action and all that kind of stuff. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, other than that, I was taking a look. There's really nothing else that we're expecting today. I think there's another event tomorrow, but it's just normal natural gas and bond yields. And then yeah, tomorrow it's consumer sentiment, which isn't huge, but market moving nonetheless. So it looks like the market's kind of free to do whatever the market's going to do.
Trader Life wants to talk about Tesla. No, well, I still like it. It's just more of a matter if the market wants to kind of assist, right? Sometimes it's about that, right? Like, you could have a really good trade, really good chart, but if the market's just going to come down on you that day, that's just going to be what it is, right? Like, you know what I mean? You can even have a really good, like, this was looking amazing on the breakout, and it just started to fail, right? And then that's okay, because the market came back. If the market kept going and this one failed, then you're more questioning the stock than the overall market. So I'm not questioning the stock here. I'm questioning if the market wants to come with it, right? So if we're going to get another rip and rally, then hell yeah, I want to pay attention to Tesla, because it seems like it wants to rally, but got held back, right? Like a big bully came and gave it a push off the slide yesterday. So I think we got to watch now to see if they can start to really drive this. And once again, what's our catalyst is Elon back to focus, right? And you'll start seeing catalysts talk about this. This is why I like to focus on like narratives and use narratives with technicals, essentially story, with technicals, and then just make sure, like, if you really want to go deeper, you can go one more layer or a couple more layers, right? They're the 4 variables I talk about: technicals, fundamentals, story, and market. If you can choose those 4, you can have higher convictions in your trades, maybe go smaller in how many trades you're taking. And to me, Tesla makes a perfect and pure example of that type of trading, right? You know the story, that's the Elon talk, right? The fundamentals need to change here and get some tailwinds. Rate cuts will help that. Of course, another thing that could help that is if they actually start selling more cars, right? They're struggling in a lot of markets. So one thing that you'll be looking for there. And of course, robotics outlook can always drive story side. Then you're looking at the technicals. The technicals look good here. I think Michael would agree if he just looked at this technically, it looks good. Just needs a break through that trend line.
Weird sizing. 1 second. There we go. Yeah, and this kind of, and this the reason I zoomed out like this. If you look at like the 2-minute chart on Tesla, that looks like a wild day. This is why I always remind you on like really volatile names to zoom out, because really nothing's happened over the last 4 days. Nothing has happened this week at all in Tesla. Now, if you look at the intraday chart, it's some wild action. You just need to, this is the importance of that kind of zoom out, is just to say, hey, we're really just consolidating at the top end of this range. We have a high back here and a high back here and a little high here. So it's a big range and we're just really consolidating at it. It's just for Tesla, right? A consolidation can be 5-6% of the stock, where in some other names, a consolidation like this would be 1% maybe. So you just have to make sure you're going through and figuring that out. So I'm looking, this is one of the reasons why I love closing prices, and especially on swings, waiting for closes, is I want to see a close above, like, let's call it 360 even. And then I'm going to buy some and just let the craziness, because you can't, it's very hard, especially to swing Tesla with a very large position and a very tight stop, because Elon could come out at any point and say anything that tanks the stock 10% or rips it 10%. So for me, yeah, close over 360 is interesting. Stop around 340. So I'm risking like 20% or $20 a share. And then the hope is, right, do I think I can make $40 a share? Well, that would just be a move to 400, right? That's nothing for this, right? I'm going to try to get like 500 or something like that. So yeah, it's just, I'm looking at this consolidation, and for it to break, I want to see a break and I want to see a hold above that price.
Yeah, I think we'll be looking for that, and I think that has to come with an overall tech rally too, right? So we'll continue to watch that. One mention here, talking about focusing on rebounds and reversals. So looking for that type of action in the markets, and I don't blame him for that. So yeah, MU. Let's see if maybe it comes down. SNPS, right? There's names out there, right? So good strategy talk there in the chat. Love to catch that.
Yeah, it's all time frame. I really do think the more I'm, been day trading and building these day trading systems, the more I'm into revision to the mean style of when it comes to day trading, and then trend trade or swing trading longer. That's a little bit more of the trend side of things. So that's kind of what I look at a little bit now. That being said, I actually now have open on a view app to view app fade list. So this might be one of those scenarios where I'm long something from the swing side of things and then short from the day side of things, which is always a weird kind of mental battle, but it happens. Right? So if we break down here,
It does happen.
But that's
Not a bad thing either, though. It's not a bad thing. It's a understanding of maybe this bad boy has gone too far, but also the understanding of I'm going to ride the trend, right? Because one trade could be wrong, and then one can continue making money. And that's how it is sometimes. It's okay to give up. You're essentially giving up some of your profit in one side, but to make more profit, right?
Well, yeah,
secure more. And I think that's the important part there.
And it's an understand of time frames, right? And again, as a
Time
systems
frames,
guy, as a setup
and you have to
guy,
separate your mentality, right? That's the hardest part is compartments, right?
Yes.
And you do a lot of different styling now, especially now that you're doing more systems also on the day trade side. So how do you battle with this, Michael? I think it's a good conversation to have. Do you sometimes feel like you should just be leaning on one side, just be focusing the bots towards swings, or
I
how's
think
it
it's
been so far? Because it's been now like a couple of months, right, that you've been kind of running some of this.
Yeah, it's probably been what since I've been able to fully systemize maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
And it does it's one of the benefits of Trade the Pool, right? Is I have my own personal account, and that account is, let's say it's big.
Yeah.
um,
And it's giving
and
you the ability to go away from that and focus on system building,
and
right?
the fact that it's happening in a different account really helps out. Now I'm running some of these same systems across accounts, but just the fact that it's a different beast entirely, I think it helps me out mentally as well.
Hmm.
Whereas, some days the swing, if the market gap's down, I swing only from the long side, so I'll be down on the day, and it's just the way it works. And when you have a large account, you're going to be down, many thousands of dollars. It's just kind of
Yeah.
the way it happens. And then it just feels good, and sometimes in those days to have my Trade the Pool account up a couple $100, right?
Yeah.
Net, my net worth has decreased throughout the day, but it just the way I look at it is it's more of like a diversification or a hedge. Is that okay? I made a little bit of money over here, even though I lost a bunch of money over here, knowing that eventually the swing trades will make money and eventually the day trades will make money. And having those things not correlated, I think helps in the long run. But it is kind of day to day a little bit of a mental battle if you're, very long, a large account, and then you're,
Hmm.
kind of scalping or net short a other account, which, yesterday was a perfect example, right? I was really rooting for the market to kind of hold that breakout a little bit better than it did. But at the same time, my entire Trade the Pool account, my day trading account was short. So,
Hey,
you know,
that's what it's about. It's giving you opportunities, and also, like you said, it's also giving you the ability to stay objective, to stay
yeah.
sometimes on the side, and be like, well, this is just a part of the game. And I think it's important that you're saying that, yeah, as you increase, there's going to be kind of swings, right? But that's just a part of this game, right? And that's why it's always, and you mentioned it always, is positioning, 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 right? If you're making the right positions, you shouldn't really feel that down on those days, right? You're like, okay, well,
Mhm.
this is just part of the game. I kind of, I've put this into the system also expecting, and I know where my outs are, and that's always the key, right? But it's just a part of the game of swing, and I think that that's how it is a lot. In swing, you start winning, 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 and then you take you take a lick, right?
Yep.
We're all gonna take it, right? And then but the key is, as long as you can have more of that consistency. So find consistency, whether it be in your swing or your day trade. Find that consistency and stick to it, man, because that's what keeps us all alive to trade the next day, right?
Well, yeah, and it's all about having a system to compare yourself to, I think is huge. Where
Yeah.
I know at the end of every day when I run my system what I should have made or should have lost. Right? I
Yep.
can run the back test of the systems I made and said this is what would have happened. So I no longer compare myself to whether or not it was a good day or a bad day. I compare myself to whether or not it was as profitable as it should have been or as big of a loss as it should have been. And that's huge because every single trade and every single day the outcome is almost random, right? It's the net
Oh,
of a
we're
lot of
getting
them
some
is
breaking
random.
news here. Jay Angelo helping out here. Sorry for the breaking news, but that's
What's
a
that?
breaking news.
SLXN?
XLXN penny stock this morning that was up there to
Ooh,
$30, offering right now. Boom, slacking. That
wow.
is a slacking, man.
They didn't even give it a day. They had those offering documents, like, you can't just write those that fast. They had those queued up and
Unless they
ready to
ask
go.
Chat GPT to write them up real quick. The future is real. The future
Because
is real.
yeah, so it's been since it hit its high, it's been 2
Wow.
hours, and then it's back down. Yeah, they had
That's
this.
wild. That's
So
wild. Let me see the news on it. Let me grab the actual size, right, of the offering here. Ooh, 6 million offering at a combined price of $4. So this could still arbitrage down to $4 here. This could still go down. You can maybe get a bounce here. This is an interesting one here. I wish I would have been able to catch it fast. So the looks like it hit here, and I'm trying to find the earliest print of it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
got a
see,
hit
there's
there at 918, and then on the 1 minute here, we're seeing like 917. So 917, I'm guessing it came out right at 917. So,
yeah,
oh,
there is just no universe that they didn't have because they released drugs,
yeah.
right? So they released the trial on their drugs, and then 2 hours later they do an offering. So they 100% knew that that drug trial was going to turn out to be a good thing. And then they 100% had those documents ready because you have to like file them
Oh
and
man.
everything, right? You don't just
Yeah.
like write them, like they have to be filed. So that to me is a company that I'm just not going to be a fan of really ever doing business with or holding because
Yeah.
you've really just pissed off your investor base just like that because yeah, you had to have that done. Like you just had to. There's no way that you didn't have those written up, knowing we're going to release good trial results and then we're going to tank it in your
Yeah.
face. That
So
mm,
so I'll tell you how they do this a lot of times, and I can see it on the daily chart. It kind of stands out to me. I see this all the time. And just mentioning I think the market's ripping. I see AMD ripping. I don't know if it's just AMD, but I need to look to the right or left. But yeah, definitely starting to ride up there. The market, AMD, nice little push there. At least I got two
yeah.
positions on AMD. Market's trying to push for that high. We'll see if we get there. But definitely that SLXN. Let's look back. What do you get? A nice split right before in August. So I'm
Hmm.
thinking they already had it done this date, right? And then they did this split. They're like, okay, we're gonna do this split, and then we're gonna wait for us to get above that level, right? Above 15s, right? Get it back towards a level that we can actually get some money out of this, and then run the offering. Run the offering.
And listen, if you're a long-term investor in a name like this, it might be the right move. If
Yeah.
you're some poor day trader who came in and saw the news and bought it at $30, you can't even have a stop loss out. You just have to kind of take it. You
Yeah.
just have to kind of go, okay, well, this is the if you weren't fast on the trigger, this is why pre-market and post-market trading is so dicey, and I really encourage people to be careful. Is because yeah, it's like, what do you do in a scenario like this? You there's unless you were fast enough to punch out,
Yeah.
oof, and
It's
it's
just
just all happened in this is a 2 minute candle, right? It all happened in 2 minutes, right down.
And remember, the idea here is that always, if I talk about this in pre-market, if we all get that eagerness to go upsized, when really pre-market and aftermarket is made for lower size. So if you want to be able to play it, I think you can play it. I think you just have to play it with small size, looking for outsized return, like outsized move, right? Like this XLXN, yeah, it does a pop there of 267%, but it also pulled back 64% right after that, right? So you have to be able to be in a size that where you can take actions of 20% down. You can't do that with high size, right? Let's just be as honest as it can be, right? You go high size, 1,000 shares there, that's how you lose an account. Then you know what I mean? Real quickly.
Yep.
So I see this all the time, especially that arbitrage of 1,000. There's traders all the time like, I'm just going to trade 1,000 shares here, 1,000 shares there. Trust me,
No.
I've been there. I've had a nice. I maybe haven't had a thousands of dollars loss on that, but I've had a nice close to $1,000 loss within a couple seconds.
Oh, I've yeah,
So
I've lost 5 figures in 10 seconds doing
yeah,
like
like you know what I
pre-market
mean. It,
stuff,
it can
right?
be seconds. It doesn't even
Yeah.
need to be like minutes. It can be seconds, and sometimes milliseconds. So just be careful out
Mhm.
there, guys. And then no one's fast enough to react in milliseconds. Let's just be honest.
No, and
No
you
one
won't you
is.
won't beat the computers, and the fact that this is again why I'm just if I think if you want to trade pre-market, it's got to be insanely liquid stuff or uh big names like you,
Yeah.
you could probably trade Nvidia or Apple or something like that. But it's just there's probably a lot of accounts that got lost just off that news, and I can't really blame them because
Yeah.
what do you
What do you
do?
do?
A,
What do
there's
you do?
probably not even the liquidity there if you were fast enough to get out. Because I zoomed into a 1 minute candle.
Yeah.
Why is this?
You need to have like 100 shares. Let's just be honest. It needs to be something as small as like 100 shares, right? Because even a 500 share position is going to struggle to get out there. You're gonna need to be like limit down like 10, 15 cents, 20 cents real
Yeah,
quick.
'cause that happened in 1 minute. Let's go into the seconds chart. See how really fast that. I keep forgetting that you can do if you're a DGen. Yeah, the 30-second chart is I zoomed in. It went from $12 to 6 in 30 seconds. So you would have to be
30 cents.
lightning fast
That's,
in order to get any trade. So yeah,
that's
just be
wild.
careful. Maybe it bounces from here, it goes back to $10 or something. But if you're holding on, hoping for that, I think you're praying. It's a hope and a prayer. Meanwhile, you're right. The market has been kind of slowly meandering back up. It's now almost to the high of the candle from whenever all these reports came out. That's
Yeah. I wish I could have got bigger access to some exposure at AMD this morning. But
AMDL.
yeah, I did.
Try that.
I
Yeah.
went 200. I literally split. I went swing and day trade on it. I went
Nice.
swing AMDL, day
Yeah.
trade AMD. So here we go, guys. We'll get open in
Nice.
just about 4 minutes.
That's good. Good
But
work on that.
yeah, the key is I think AMD's on a nice drive, right? And sometimes we go away from a name after we nailed it. Like I nailed this on a swing and I got out, and I'm just like, they gave me a gift yesterday. They brought it back halfway, right? Like, my man Steve, I miss Steve. I don't know what he's doing, man, but I hope he's out there listening. Look at that 50% retracement, right on the dot, 50%. So shout out to my man Steve with his 50% retracement. That looks beautiful. So I'd rather just stay in a name of really nice. I'm moving back to quality, guys. We're gonna probably shut down the penny stocks today. If we do, we're gonna be looking for shorts. But we're looking good here, guys. Market's starting to lift here.
Yeah, it's one of those, I think, if you have movement in real companies, the penny stock game dries up a little bit. And then when there's no movement if you look at the SPY when like QMMM and everything was going crazy, right? We had no movement in crypto. We had no movement in equities. We had no movement. So it's almost like the degens, they'll just flock to whatever's going on at the time. And most people would rather just trade names that they know, their Teslas, Nvidias, that kind of stuff. But yeah, we've got 2 minutes to the open. Again, I'm just marking this candle high and low. I think is the most important bit, right? So we have that candle high and that candle low. This is when all of those numbers came out. Remember, there's jobs and CPI and all kinds of stuff. So as long as we're inside this particular range, no one has gained any ground. So above that range or below that range is starting to get interesting. This game of playing inside ranges, I just don't think is too interesting. I'd love to see a breakout, maybe a pullback and test it and then go, or a breakdown and then a bounce and test or something. But these are my levels, and these are my kind of sit on my hand until something happens levels.
All right, guys, let's have some fun. Market's going to get ready to open here in just about a minute here. So get ready, guys. Let's have some fun here.
All right, and I did want to point
SoFi.
to
Yeah,
IWM lagging here.
SoFi, I would not compare a SoFi earning with like an SLXN though, Adrian. No,
No.
that's the only thing. That's like completely different, right? So you're talking about a highly liquid stock versus a highly illiquid stock. So I still believe in SoFi, guys. I think SoFi is a good look today. We did see some rotations to some financials yesterday, but Klarna is the reason why a lot of this got hit yesterday. So KLAR on the radar, new IPO, a firm type of name. A firm could rip today with Klarna, I think. So I'm watching a firm also on radar, guys. Keep a watch on that. Back above 86 could be a good watch.
Yeah. And, just back to offerings real quickly. Again, if you believe in the company, an offering is not a bad thing, right? They're raising money to do something with it. The question is, can the company raise money to return that money, more money, to you as a shareholder on a later date? That's what you got to ask yourself, right? Is what's that other thing? But so far on the Qs, we're getting a little bit of a rip right off the open here on the Qs. So a little bit of a
That's
pop
why I was
there on
trying to jump
tech.
on the AMDL. I'm actually adding here, guys, and going to go holding off of a short risk here. Look for the rip out, the breakout on AMD here. There we go. Nice little action off the gates here. So I'm looking for a little bit more extension towards 1020s, and then I can even just set a stop here into the green.
Well, so it's funny. 1022 is the 2-day VWAP. So that's the average price yesterday and today. If you're looking for
Yeah, the quick trade. Yeah.
reason, yeah, that's what that could be a little bit. But just looking at the market here off the open, especially the Q, we're getting just a nice kind of overall push across everything. So I'm not really going to be too quick to look to take profits on too much here.
Yeah, I'm like kind of just waiting. I'm not even putting out orders because I think it's especially at the open. They try to, as long as you're seeing your price stay above, like all my trades in the green, it's holding well, holding well. Don't overreact. That's what I tell myself sometimes. Don't overreact. Karna starting out green here. I'm looking for our strategy, Michael, on that one, an IPO name,
KR.
KLAR. So undercutting 45 towards 44 and then coming back to the 47. So washout attempt to 44, come back through 45. Like 47 on the upside could be a really nice move. There's AMDL now moving up higher, up about 1% on AMD. I'm going to be looking for pullbacks on AMD overall to add from my day trade account, but the swing looking great here, guys. AMDL takeoff. Let's go.
So the bot took a little bit of short on this PTNM from yesterday and the day before. It's just taking a bit of a short here, looking for a little bit of a potential mean reversion on that one. And then CELC, I don't know what this one is at all, but sell, hold on, 35. Sell ask. I love that you can actually get CELC. I don't know what this one is, but fell pretty dramatically yesterday. You know, I zoom out on the chart and then bouncing today. So the idea is we're looking to see if this kind of midpoint of yesterday's range holds and moves lower. And then PTMN, right? This has just been nuts, just up every day. Took a short on this one yesterday, did not work out. I think it was a small loser, it wasn't a big loser. Now it's shorting it again. So at some point, might give up the ghost, and that might be a little bit of trade. I have this XLSN on watch, and it actually halted up, I think, of all things. So, yeah, why not? So we're halted up on that if you're trading that. So people, I guess, are looking to buy that dip just a little bit. Yeah, everyone's talking about semis, right? So, you know, we're seeing that with Mitch's AMD, but semis are definitely kind of leading a little bit of a charge here with SMH up 1.2%. Good move there on semis. I wonder, is it just, yeah, NVIDIA up a little bit. Is even the dog going to be up? Yeah, even Intel is looking to make a little bit of a move here. So if the worst guy's moving, then that's always a really good sign for the sector that you're in.
You guys know it. I talked about Intel. I'm telling you, you see the trend change, and all of a sudden people are talking about Intel's all of a sudden sexy. I mean, don't be mad at me that you guys didn't grab it at $20 or $30 when it's 60 or 90 again. I'm telling you, there's something about governments going into that's never happened before. That
give me a close, and I might just do like leaps or something. But yeah, give me a close over this 26. I'm in.
Yeah, like look at some far out options, because look how stacked this is, right, Michael? Like the options start getting cheaper as it gets stacked like that, right? So
yeah, so volatility is through the floor on this. I was looking at it last night, so I was looking at 2027 leaps, I think.
Yeah, give me something in the 60 at 2027.
Yep.
You know, 3 times the amount, and next thing you know, you make a lot here.
Okay, so
all right, guys, AMD's struggling a little bit. I'm trying to stay strong, right? Stay strong here out the gates. We'll see. How's Oracle doing here? You're getting your pullback, your VWAP pullback probably here. That's what's leading the down right there. Oracle definitely pulling back there, but I'm looking for NVIDIA and the other ones to stay hot. MU staying hot. That's the name right now, guys. That's pushing strong there. Big push there. Got the buy rating and then just didn't stop.
Yeah, big move on that one. Still just
SPY pushing strong also, guys. So just to call that out.
Yeah, just looking here, right? So this up in this area is all the, let's do this. I like the table view here better. So these are all of the major, right, indices across the board. We go down and just let's sort that by percentage change. So semiconductors leading the charge here. ARC is actually still doing great. Home construction doing fantastic. A little bit of an everything rally here.
All right, guys, gonna get a test down here in AMDL. Just staying with it right now, just watching it. It got up as high as about 1020s. Looking for a 1020 takeout to grab more, but we'll see what happens here on this pullback.
Yeah, it's weird that that MU isn't pulling everything up with it. It's so strong. You think it would just pull the whole sector. Whatever Ford is, I guess it's not actually Ford. It's Ford, but a little bit of a short there on Ford as well. So the bot so far is just leaning into the short side, which the market is just chopping. So I guess it's kind of okay. But again, just with the PNTM and the CELC, which it looks like I'm going to miss the fill on maybe, and SLXN, because that was the last change I've made. Again, I'm always tweaking the bot, which is something we can talk about too when it comes to bot trading. I've been trying to transition from market orders to limits and just put them a little bit outside the market, maybe get a little bit less fills, but a little bit more just better fills when I get them.
UMAC just pushing, guys. I haven't been able to grab it because of the spread in the morning, but now it's now up to 1042s, man. That's frustrating on that one. Had it yesterday below 10, looking for the run to 11. The key was yesterday it just didn't want to really get going, and it just kind of faded back right before 10. This morning, gapped up, not looking back. So I'm looking at those names. RCAT can fall in that, and look at RCAT go, guys. I talked about this with the DJI and how this was going to play into effect. Well, there it is. RCAT rip in there towards 10. UMAC now towards 1050. I need a pullback on these names. I'm looking for VWAP pullbacks. Haven't yet received one, but I'll be looking for it on RCAT, UMAC. They're going. AVA is another one to watch with this one. This is doing our undercut strategy, Michael. 243 on AVA, AVAV. We talked about this daily chart, how it's a nice flag pattern. Nice day yesterday above the 250s.
BMNR exploding. Someone saying, yeah, that's a nice rip on BMNR. So what about the other ones?
Keep an eye on it. I think this is the one to watch now. I think BMMR can really get going here. I'm gonna try to trade it some, just to be careful out there.
Oh, SBET is looking good too as well.
Yep, that's another good one there too.
So is Ethereum moving, or is this just hype on? No,
I think this is just moving away from QMMM.
Yeah, that one's doing
a whole lot of nothing. From it. It's moving away from it. The buyers are moving away. They're looking for the BMMR. Yesterday, remember, it struggled, and I wanted it at 46. Today, it hits 46 and right back up. 46.10 especially, right above that 46 level where it got hot yesterday, where I was watching the price action. So this is very hot, guys. It's pushing. I need a pullback to 48 here for me to try to play it, but it's pushing strong.
Massive relative strength in Solana right here. Huge.
Salt, baby.
I'll pop here. Where am I? Here I am.
Oh, Sultan, man.
Right. So if we just take a look, right, here's Bitcoin. These are all 30-minute charts. Bitcoin sitting kind of on lows, bouncing a little bit. Ethereum, again, kind of looking just like Bitcoin, middle of its range. Not bearish, but not doing too crazy. And then you look at Solana, and that is breaking out to the top end of its range. So, right, very easy to spot sometimes relative strengths. That means also take a look, right? Yeah, like SALT, if you're looking for an intraday trade, is breaking today's pre-market high. And again, this is a 2 times leverage, so you can trade this one as well. So yeah, take a look at that. I know some of these, yeah, there's TerraWolf. This is one of the biggest misses, I was going to say, for me in a long time. I wanted to buy it as it broke through 10. And I saw this candle and just chickened out for some reason. It looks like this thing's going to potentially keep going. BMNR, right? That's a nice look. And then SBET kind of looks the same. So SBET. So keep an eye on some of these treasury names. And I think this is what's going to happen is that you're going to get a lot of treasury names that you never hear ever again. And then from there, you're going to actually end up getting good ones that are interesting. And it's all about being able to sort those and hang those out. PLT and PT and M. This one's actually selling a bit, so far so good on that name. I like that the gap up looks like it failed through the 2-day VWAP. It may continue, but this isn't a VWAP to VWAP fade. This is just a pure systems trade, which I'm just doing more and more of because they're way easier, like way easier. I don't have to think about them at all, and I'm more confident with them because they have, a lot of good statistics behind them.
There's one penny stock I'm watching, AMST. That just has a decent pattern. Just did liquidity move underneath the support. So looking to see if 390s hold now, get back above 4, could make a run to 6.
This SLXN just unhalted higher, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
So
There's also GRI, GRI, as a smaller name. Just mentioning them out there, coming up on the scanner.
This one just going to halt right back down. Good.
Yeah, I'm going to take a shot on this AMST. We'll see if it starts going here. Got to hold off the 380s. AMST, the one I'm looking at, guys. We'll see if it gets going here.
Yeah.
Have it right on the screen here. You guys can see it. Also continuing trying to watch if AMD can bounce right off of this support in the 980s. Get back up above the 10 in the AMDL. And also got the swing. I got like 125 now, 157. There's AMST now popping towards 430s. Needs to really get going here. Now it's moving. Now it's going. Now it's getting going. Let's get some ads here in towards our level. If we can get break even here, I'm more than willing to add a little bit. Let's see if we can get back to break even.
So we're getting a little bit of a pullback here in the markets as a whole. We're breaking through VWAP on the SPY.
Adding.
We stopped right at the top of that range. So, yeah, just a choppy little day so far.
All right. Watch for a little bit of a quick takedown towards 4, but looking good here in AMST. Building up the position. Looking for a break of 440s there for the extension now. There we go. Boom, baby. Good extension there, guys. Already putting a stop 440s. Going to try to let it run here. There we go. Nice little extension there to 460s. Now 455s. Putting it out there towards 460s, 450s, 470s. Let's go. Let's go. We got it close to a halter here. We're going to go ahead and put a stop. Cashed. Boom. Let's go. Take the money and run. AMST. Especially with the way the penny stocks have been. I'm more into taking the money and run. But really nice trade there. I'll just take it. That's cashed. Let's go. Hope somebody was paying attention on that AMST call. 4 was the levels. We're back to 470s, now 480s. It can get to 5 and get going to 6. But for me, I'm just going to take that quick cash there. Nice little trade there. 300 412s, 200 430s, out 500 456. Let's go.
And that was against the market too, right? The market's been kind of selling the whole time, so it just shows that there's some good strength in there. Is that if the market was participating with it, probably would have even been even better.
Stop set on the AMD swing, guys. Might lose about 130 on that, but at this point, like with the market kind of going the way it is, I needed to bounce here. But it's at the level where I can give it that opportunity to bounce and it go. If not, get out. Right? Sometimes it's like that. So AMD for me, you see these wicks, all these wicks, there should be some buying pressure around the 157. I should start seeing 157 hold now. So I can risk off of below that 157 now. Let's see if it can touch it and get just lift off of it.
Yeah, so Shai just asking, is it better for inexperienced traders to observe instead of making trades in the first 30 minutes?
I actually really do.
I
I think overall, observe is better.
Yeah, well, and I would say, right, especially if you're a new trader, you don't know where your edge is. And, I don't think you go fishing for that edge in the most volatile time of the market, right? You observe and come up with a plan and back test that and maybe paper trade the first 30 minutes and then flip over to live. But I'd say the biggest problem with most new traders, they just don't have an edge that they can actually prove is, and by edge, I mean, right, you're making bets that have a positive expectancy in the long run. So,
Yeah.
right, I would go paper trade or open a small eval and like say, hey, I'm gonna open the $47 eval in that first 15 minutes. I'm just gonna play with that. If I lose a $47 eval once a month, it's who cares? And then from there, you've got maybe your real account, and then you switch to that later until you develop some edge in the first 30 minutes and then trade it, right? Because the way I look at it is if you have an edge, you trade it whenever you can. But it's going to be harder. It's like developing an edge on hard mode if you're doing this when the market is the most volatile. So yeah, paper trade, small eval, something, and then just switch over. I wouldn't just do nothing. I would try to develop a system you could do in the first 15 minutes or the first 30 minutes. And then when you're kind of comfortable with it, then you take that thing live. SPY putting in a little bit of a bounce here. It's come in, just pop over here. It's, right, it came in. These are 2-minute candles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down candles in a row. It looks like now we're pumping up pretty strongly. So very interesting that this purple line, remember I drew this in the pre-market, and this was the high of this just crazy candle back and forth when we had all those news events. We came right there and we stopped and pulled back. So if we come back through this, call it 654.50, that to me is probably where we can really get going here. Bot took a new trade on CORZ, Core Scientific, and it's just looking for a pullback after this really good extension move right here as well. So
In KLRA, guys, on the day trade, going to take a bigger risk on this, guys. I'm going to risk about $300 on this trade.
what is it?
I have this feeling, this KLAR,
AR. There we go.
the IPO from yesterday. I talked about the 44 undercut. Just got 44 undercut. Maybe jumping into it a little earlier, but already setting the risk down there. We'll see if it takes a quick hit down. If it keeps going down, this could be an opportunity for shorts to come in too, because this is a support, right? So I think that the amount of volume that's coming in here, I don't know if they're trying to necessarily short this IPO here. It's probably not even easy to short it in the actual kind of market right now.
IPOs are hard to get borrows on for sure.
That's my idea, is that maybe it just undercuts right here and then really gets going.
Well, and it had to have been down more than 10%. We talked about this. I don't know if this was the day you were gone or not, but this is a very common. Yeah, down 13%. As I was talking about how I know a guy who trades at a prop firm, and all he does, the whole thing, is he looks for stocks that were down 10% yesterday and then looks to buy them. And the reason he picks 10% is because that's when the uptick rule is applied, which just makes it harder to short the day after that. So that's a common strategy, as he just says, right? Give me a list of everything down 10% or more yesterday. I know that those things are going to be more difficult to short. So if they're more difficult to short, then maybe I will look for price to confirm on the long side of things. So,
all right, looking for the market to reverse, looking for AMD to reverse here and fast. So let's see what happens here. If it doesn't reverse, I'm ready to get out, but I've taken the shot. I've sized in on the day trade also. Already got stop set there, but looking to see if we start to get some reversal in the market. BABA leading to the upside. That's a good one. And I'm looking at CRM as a good trade here. I just don't have the cash for it, but I like the idea of CRM with Oracle doing so well. There we are, getting one more dip there. Let's see if it starts to turn around here. It's Q's starting to turn around. Let's look at what's strong in the Q's here. What's leading in the Q's this morning? You got Grail. Grail was a nice setup on the hourly. That's a nice little break on a flag above 37. So just to put that one out there. Ooh, Lamb Research. Big move there, guys. So, of course, that one's going to help AMAT. Look at AMAT and LRCX. big rip out there, guys. That's a semiconductor equipment stocks. What
Wow.
is that? That's China news that isn't given to us yet. I can tell you that right now. Um, that's the
Yeah.
only thing that I think could cause that type of reaction in those three names out the gates here. I'm looking at those names. And China's doing well today. I mean, look at the FXI breakout right there, right? The C web. How's PDD looking? PDD off the 126 doesn't look bad there.
Yeah, that's a nice kind of tightening range off the open here on PDD,
JD
right?
also, right? We talked about it. There's JD. JD, nice run. We were talking about is on the radar today.
God, I'm gonna have to hear from Jake today. He told me
Oh
to buy
yeah, you're gonna
calls
have
on
to
this.
hear it. You're gonna have to hear it,
He's
man.
gonna message me and say, yeah, how's those? I didn't buy the calls. He's like, how are those calls doing? It's like,
Oh, you're struggling, man.
I know. It's not my system.
There's not too many times where Jake and I are on the same side.
Yeah, it's been a good trade so far, and I like
Good
the
one.
daily chart, right? I like this.
Beautiful.
I remember some people call this a red bar ignored. I've heard it, Greg, called right, some kind of fake out where you have a big green candle. I've heard it called like a 1, 2, 3 play, but a big green candle and you have a red candle the next day, and then you break that immediately. It means everybody has been faked out here, right? Everyone who shorted yesterday, JD said it's up too much or something. From a swing side of things, they're wrong. Still watching this SLXN and it's still short. This thing's been hilarious. They're stopped. This is kind of the funny one, I think, du jour. It opens and halts and opens and halts and opens and halts. So more just reminding myself why I don't trade these things.
Oh yeah.
My PTNM is working well, but bouncing a bit here. Notice it hit the 2-day view up exactly, right?
Whew. That JD is looking strong today.
What about
KLAR
FXI as
right by
well?
my
Oh,
entry again.
man, look at this. Just FXI chart.
Dude, there's
Jeez.
something going on here, man. You know how the inside talk out there goes real quick, man.
Yeah, if you want to see what programmatic buying looks like, it's just right here. You know,
Yeah,
like 50 1-minute candles up in a row.
And sometimes, man, just the easiest charts, dude. I don't know how many times I've talked about this chart on KLAC. I know it's more expensive, and that's why people try to avoid this. But
Again,
there's no point in avoiding this, man.
You're paid in percentage. If you put 10 grand into it, it doesn't matter whether it's a $1,000
Especially,
stock or a $1
you
stock,
don't have to
right?
worry about this stock disappearing tomorrow. You know,
Yes. Yeah.
like that is a beautiful breakout. And what did it do? Right at the 600, right? That undercut rally through. When we get above that, we look for the throwback look. It gave us that perfect throwback look. Let's say you didn't pay attention to all this. It broke 800. You're just like, come back to the line. Come back to near the line. I'll take the shot near the line and I'll risk down. Look at how it lifts off of that.
I have said it for years. If you said, okay, Michael, you can no longer be a quant, I'm taking away all your tools. You can only do one thing in the markets forever. It is find me a place that it broke out, a trend line, a horizontal resistance point.
Yeah.
Find me a place that it broke out of, and now it's coming back to test, and I'm buying it there. I'm just doing that all day to the long side, to the short side. The beauty of it is, A, you're automatically trend following, because if it broke something and came back to test it, it's in an uptrend. And your risk reward on those plays are amazing. Because you know right where you're wrong. If like the trend line you drew, if it failed below that trend line, you're out. And then you have this amazing spot that you're buying it at. It's the only thing that I would do if I've been trying to systematize that one forever, but you know, quantifying support and resistance is a hard thing to do. Yeah, it's easy. Yeah, it's all I would do, right?
All right, guys. So at this point here, we got to tighten down on AMD and start using risk to add to KLR. We have a decent first entry here. It's starting to lift. It's not taking off, but I'm having a feeling that we could get a little bit of a reversal on this bad boy, as every news station was all bearish about KLAR.
What do these guys do? You said something like a
It's
firm?
buy now, pay later, but in Europe, man.
Well, Right, I was pricing up all that stuff for Apple, all of the $5,000 I think I'm going to spend on Apple soon, and then they gave me the Affirm price, and I'm like, I don't know, that seems kind of tempting.
I like the Amazon. Amazon actually gives you these, but zero interest, Michael. Zero.
Well, yeah, if it's, and I need
Absolutely
to look at it.
zero.
If it's zero
Amazon,
interest, you'd be dumb not to take it. It's again, assuming that you're a responsible human with your money.
yeah,
You'd be
yeah,
crazy not to take zero interest.
I'm looking at getting a new desk right now. It's not even a lot of money, but if I can get it at zero interest and just pay it off monthly in 3 months, just a less hit on the household income, right? So
Well, and I just look at it as that any dollar that I have not in my brokerage account trading my systems is right dollars I would rather, right? I don't want to take out the $5,000 to pay off the thing. I would rather just pay a couple $100 a month
yeah.
over
And
a
you
year.
can even do this with like $2,000 DSLR cameras on Amazon. If you're like a Prime member and they've given you the access, because you have to have like you have to spend a crap ton of money like I do on Prime. But they give you access to zero interest loans for no fee at all. Just we'll take the hold. I mean, all right, sounds good.
It's funny. It's kind of like, right, there's some trading analogies here, right, that I always say you can do whatever you want in trading as long as you're responsible with an exit plan. I think with financing and
Coming back,
debts,
my guys.
yeah, look, a little cup and handle actually just brought that up as well.
Micron looks interesting to me on the pullback here.
If the Qs are going to make another shot at high, that makes sense. Now we have the SPY that has smashed through its high. So this is definitely one of those days where we're seeing some good relative strength outside of large cap tech, and we're seeing it in other places. So just keep that in mind as well, that you might want to go looking at, your financials, your healthcare. Ooh, I just brought up the XLF chart for the first time today. Look at this.
Hot, right? It was rotating into it yesterday. Rotating into it. We were looking at it. It's a
XLV
rotation
at
all
highs.
around. All around, I think. There's an ETHU alert, guys. Alert going off for ETHU. I don't have the money, man, to be spending today. I need more money. More money. Because it's looking like a fun day to trade here, guys. Let's keep taking a look to see what starts to move here. Another thing that I'd like to see is a firm go higher, right? That's actually come down, so I'll wait to see that if it starts to really kind of push there. ETHU, I talked about it. I wanted to keep an eye on it because we saw earlier BMNR. There's ETHU starting to push back, and it did do a 150 undercut that I think is a good area to risk off of.
Yeah, Ethereum going good. Bitcoin really rocketing here. We're finally through that 114.5. And if you zoom out here, this is a 15-minute chart. We've been fighting that for a long time. And then, yeah, Ethereum trying, right? It's a little bit laggy, but trying with it. And then we've got
I'm taking
Solana
ETH
really
in the
going.
swing account, guys, because it's just less, right? Less money that I need for the ETHU. Even though I like it, I'm just going to go with ETH here, swing on an ETH. But I still like that Micron move too, but we'll see if it starts to bounce. That's going to be a good one to watch if it goes back to 156 as overall strength in the market.
Yeah, I definitely understand the plight of buying power restrictions especially as a discretionary trader, right? As quants, we've got ways to make sure we're in the right thing, but it always felt like when I was discretionary trading on good days like this, you have like 20 ideas, and of course, the 10 you take, you just have to hope that those are the ones that work out, and that you're not like really mad that the 10 that you didn't take ends up being the
There's just
ones that go.
and you try to distinguish what's A plus, B plus, C plus, right? What's the focus there?
Still short this.
How's open doing? Is it continuing? Oh,
I'm trying not to look.
Why are we not trading open, Michael? It's because you're trying to hide. Put Kevin on the screen. I think he's not afraid of trading that.
Perhaps. I didn't get my short.
Did you get it? Did you get it, Kevin?
No, I did not. I did not get open.
What are you trading, my friend?
Work. QMMM.
Look at OPAD starting to go though. I like OPAD today.
Oh, are you taking the There you go. I was actually thinking when I saw that off the open, I was actually thinking of your hangover trade because it just sold off that first candle and then just couldn't
Yeah.
really get going after that.
I'm
Yeah,
long
QMMM,
OPAD.
I know. Okay, OPAD. Yeah, that's been a name and play for a while. Yeah, Michael, I watched your video yesterday. You got ahead of your bot and taking it off at
I
$50.
know. I know.
I
I
mean,
don't want to talk about it.
I certainly would have done that too. That is unbelievable. That move that QMMM made up to
Yeah.
300.
Trying to add on KLLR, guys. I'm starting to step up to the plate here, guys.
Yeah, and there's a good lesson there. We talked about it a little bit this morning that I always compare myself to my system, right? Because I have a physical thing that I can go, okay, did you do better than that and worse than that? And it really hurt running, particularly that day, and saying this is what you should have made, and you made like a third of that, and it's like, oh man, yeah. It was still great. It was a great day. I'm not going to complain about how much money I made that day, but it's when I look at it, I just have to instead of looking at the dollar amount, I have to say should have held on more, right? You should have just waited
Yeah,
to
it's
the
a day I
close. Right?
certainly won't forget. I mean, I remember you saying, "Oh, bot took a long QMMM at like $8 or $9 or
Yes,
something." And they're
yeah.
just watching that squeeze all day long. So unbelievable.
Yeah, I think it was like I think it was after the halt when it halted up to like 50 or $60. I'm like, okay, this in my head I'm like this thing's just got to be done. And then it closed at like 250.
OPAD moving here.
Damn.
Trying to add on OPAD here.
OPAD. OPAD. All right, there's OPAD. Yeah. Here we go.
Here we go, guys. I nailed AMST. I don't know if you saw that earlier, Kevin.
No, I didn't see that. AMST.
I should have just sold it to you, Kevin. I sold it up there to 450s. I should have just gave it to you, my friend.
AMST. Yeah. Pre-market resistance there held up. But
I think I got the best trade of the book. I got the best trade of the book. I don't think anyone probably got a better trade than me on that one.
Oh man, you get a fill at like 476?
Dude, I got a good trade on that one, man. Let me go
yeah.
back. I think it was like right above 411, 430, out 456 or something. So
Good morning, Tech. Good to be with the team.
let's have some fun, guys.
Yeah, this morning I was trying WLDS. That was the hot play yesterday, so I was trying to work a short this morning, and it's triple topped up at 10. It came out with an offering with 1 million shares at $4, and it's still holding up. It's the Wild Wiki West on Wilds, so it's still a play. I could see this one pulling back, going red on the day, and selling off. It's one I've been looking at for a fade, but it's just kind of wiki there. And then other than that, I do like QMMM. I mean, I'm working that on a fade today against pretty much like 110 I have a stop at with 10 shares here. 10 shares can pay quite a bit on a name like this, fading 30, 40 points. So yesterday was Octo. Octo paid out real well yesterday, which they just named. They're orbs right now. ORBS. Octo went to ORBS today, and that's been heavy. Yeah.
Okay.
Dude.
Oh yeah, look at that chart yesterday.
Remember?
Yeah, we got a system. I'm really interested. The more I watch this, I'm really interested in systemizing these hangovers. There's a lot of money here.
So there was a ton of money. Octo faded over 10 points just yesterday. It was an excellent, fruitful play. Mitch, how's your...
So many plays, man. I'm looking into the market today, and it is just a gas pedal day. And if you're missing it, it sucks sometimes, right? Because basic materials up over 1% from the open, real estate up, industrials, financial services, healthcare up over 1%. And from the open, 3 of them up literally from the open. So that just shows you they drove. Look at Cleveland Cliff. I was looking at this yesterday trying to see if it would pull back to 11. It went to like 11.10, right? That's how it goes sometimes. But man, what a takeoff towards 12. And it's led by copper, silver, gold today, higher, coal, steel, aluminum. And these are materials. This tells me more and more what I've been talking about a little bit is that if inflation is going to go higher, it's also going to be seen by the materials going higher. So it's a way to like kind of offset inflation that sees these go higher. That's why I also like the lithium trade overall in the long run, because I think it was just going to, the prices of lithium, the prices of everything that we touch in materials is going higher. And so if the prices are going higher, then the stocks can appreciate just because of the way that they are of nature, right? Some of them actually hold the assets, some of them don't, right? Some of our hold are more kind of the swap outlook. But I think that just that outlook alone can create tailwinds like we've been seeing in gold. I mean, it's absolutely insane the move in AU. Remember we talked about AU when this first started the trend run down here in the 30s. This is now $64. It's crazy, man. And guess who's joining the party? You know it. We're bringing you on early, my friend. It's a wild one.
But
The wild, wild west. How you doing, Josh?
What's going on, AK-47?
I don't think AK's ready. I think we
the
first
look of
got
a
him
focused
early.
man. That's a focused guy right there. We'll leave him for a bit. But
He must be in a heavy position.
He's trading, baby. He's trading.
What you working? You're heavy on something. What you working?
What's up? What's up, Josh?
No, I'm not. No, I probably. You're like, oh, what's up, guy? This guy's in something big. No, I'm not.
Look at this guy. Look at this
Nope.
guy. Look at him. Look at him,
Focused
baby.
Hey, you know when it's a long day, you think you put out a good shirt, and you pull out the one that actually has a little bleach stain on it, and you're like, oh man, it's one of those long mornings when you have the bleach stain on it.
You know it. That's hard work. That's a stain of hard work, my friend.
Hey, when you got all these animals down here, you got one, she's going through it. She's got her diaper on. It's just, listen, you got a lot going on over here. You get stains. You get bleach comes out. Next thing you know, you get bleach.
You don't got to tell me with twins about stuff.
yeah, it's fun.
You know.
Right. You're talking to the dads here, right?
Yeah. Let's not talk about lunchtime.
We don't even notice stains anymore, right? It's just part. It's part
Look
of
the
life.
other way, son. Just wipe it later, bro.
Yeah, the walls from my kids, like head down, have stain. And the walls have, we try to repaint like once every year or two, just because there's boogers and Cheetos all over the walls. That's all. You get stains everywhere.
Well, we said it early. If we break this Wix, you guys saw me on the CPI report, talk to the audience here about if we broke that on the upside, we could start looking for the gas pedal. It's been that type of day, right? And this is when you got to make money, guys. This is the thing that I feel some traders just like, where the good traders really make money is when we break ranges, right? And so on a day like today, when we're getting a new high, right? We're pushing out of this kind of tightening of the wedge too. And this is what I've been kind of looking at. There's like kind of this wedge pattern that's been forming. And if we can really push out of it, that can lead prices higher. All right, guys. Any on the small caps still setting up there, Kevin or Josh? Any of you guys have radar for names that are still setting up right now?
Yes, sir. You go first, Josh.
Honestly, right now I'm looking at Open again. Open's a nice slow and steady mover. So one I'm looking at today is OPEN. Oh yeah, hold on. Let me share my screen. Open. I'm not right now. Oh, sorry. I'm behind you. It's the shirt thing. It's the shirt thing.
Oh,
You better not be shorting. You better not be shorting Open.
Yeah, no, and I told a trader that they were looking at it, and I said, there was a potential here if you want to short at this resistance after hours. That has not been a good area. I'm looking at that now for a dip buy if we can get back down a little bit lower. Very good. Oh, hold on. I just want to rewind the tape real quickly since it's been the first time since Tuesday. How about does everyone go when we rewind the clock to Tuesday when everyone, and I'm talking about above me, this guy, Michael, got in from a buy on QMs at 975 area, and the thing runs to $300.
Yeah. That was great day. That was just insane.
I mean,
That was a great day and a very sad day for many people on both ends.
I mean, look at this.
You don't short first day movers, Kevin. We've talked about it. You put that hand out there and you go, no, stop it. Stop it.
Even throwing one share would have lost hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
On a short.
Again, an unconfirmed rumor, but I had a chat with a buddy of mine. I know this guy. Like I've been trading with him for like 10 years. He says he knows a guy who lost $35 million shorting QMMM. Blew up, and we may see a ripple effect from different brokers down the, because like one of those, what do you get out when the stock, what do you do when the stock's halting and then opening up 50% and then halting again 2 seconds later? If you have a big position, there's just not enough liquidity to get you out of it. And I guess he was short this name pretty big in like the 50s, and 35 mil is the number I heard. And it's like, what do you do? And then imagine that guy, because he had to get liquidated, of course. And then at the end of it, by the pre-market, it's back down in the 70s. So he probably would have had like a break-even trade. It just goes to show there's danger. There's danger out there. You got to be careful.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Danger, Will
risk
Robinson.
management
Danger, don't
always
go out.
number one.
Well, and then what do you do when you cannot when market mechanics decide you cannot risk manage, right? That's
the robot.
That's the big problem, right? And they're like, we're halting the stock. You can't cover this thing if you want to.
And then it opens 50 higher, and now you're negative. That's the truth. I mean, it's awful. That's very sad for that guy. I mean, it's not much. It was a halt fest. Halt to halt to halt to halt.
It was amazing.
Absolute nightmare.
I had to bring that back up from Tuesday, and of course, because I remember all of us were kind of giving him a little, that bot, and even Michael Hart telling, "Oh, what a good bot you are buying in down there." And then you look back and you go, "Wow."
Yeah, I took the dogs for a walk, and I came back. Now, again, I'm fully admit I chickened out. I got out in like the 50s, 60s, but I'll take the 5x, the 5x gain.
It's a good chicken. That's a good chicken.
It's a good.
That's a
dinner,
good chicken.
And it was it was.
When I said,
HAO,
it's like a gas station chicken here, baby.
Ooh.
HAO.
Spiking up. Just a lot of pre-market resistance. HAO. A little penny play spiking up right now. Money Mitch, if this other ticker gets the volume, it seems like a play you would get involved with CWD, but it doesn't have the volume.
Oh no, she's dead to me.
Bad relationship with CWD.
Yeah, she's dead to me. I left her in the ditch in the Everglades. So.
I thought that was bad leaving it.
Let's say, as someone that grew up in South Florida, the Alligator Alley, not the place to end up.
That's what she is. All right, HAO spiking up right now. Yeah.
And that's the thing. The one I haven't seen today. No mob, no really play to kind of take the movement. I saw that yesterday where you're not really getting that all day runner, but it's a lot of exhaustion from Monday into Tuesday, and you get QMs to go all the way to 300. You get EPSM, which was a sympathy play of it on Monday or Tuesday, I should say. A lot of movement. I've noticed that back in 2020 when you get that 2-day stretch of just holy banana Joes.
Banana Joes indeed.
Big upper wick near that magic 20 area on HAO.
I just sized into that OPAD. Going to take a shot on that one, guys. 409 is the risk on that. I got 437. It's a pretty good amount, 1,000 shares there. Let's see if it gets running. If it does run, I think this one could squeeze, right? So instead of playing open today, I thought the play was definitely OPAD. It was really to wake up early and just get this at even after hours. I was watching this yesterday as we saw open run. If you would have bought it then, you never even got underwater today, right? That's what I call relationship trading, guys. And it's so important to understand that if you're going to try to compete against the greats, relationships is one way that we can still do it, guys. Because we know that eyes will go to OPAD today, right? Because of open, right? And Zillow, look at the reaction that's happening in Zillow. Do you think it's because Zillow is just that great today? No, it's just open, doing well. And they're like, all right, well, the algos just start picking up Zillow, right? And then it starts to go higher. That's why I know that everyone watches it as a meme play, but Zillow is not a meme play, right? And that's continued to go higher on the tailwinds of rate cuts.
Okay, I see your comment there, Kevin, about PTNM. Been short that all morning.
Oh, you have? Look.
You've been short that?
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's just a mean reversion play. So I'm short from 850, and the idea is that, just to talk about this, it looks for wide range bars and then gap above the next day. So again, we're always playing that kind of second day move. It's small position, but yeah, it's doing great. Up 2 points on it so far. So
Excellent.
I hope that's
Yeah.
it, and this thing just kind of bleeds all day. That would be fantastic. But I'm not making my QMMM mistake again. I'm letting it go. It's funny, and we talked
Right.
about this too, Kevin. Look at the 2-day VWAP. This
2-day
line
VWAP, here we go.
hit there. It spent an hour, just half an hour hanging out at that position, then finally gave way there. So there's some power there for sure.
Beautiful setup. Great trade. I mean, it looks like a bleeder, heavy against 8 and under that 2-day VWAP. So it looks like it's going to be good all day. Yeah, it's hard to get. I can't get an entry down here, but I'm envious of your entry. That's very good. Love it. Good workout. Study it. If we're not involved with it, study that setup because there's certainly these present themselves frequently.
Yeah.
PLTU giving me an alert. That's pulling back a little bit today. Palantir. Did you get out of that OPAD? Just took the hit there, guys. Now I'm just going to stick to that KLAR position.
HAO back up into the 220s. It's where kind of the mob it goes, as Mr. Josh says, in small land. That's where they are right now.
Yeah. Yep. I wanted the dip on open, didn't
there.
quite get low enough for me, so didn't get filled on open. Had orders at 850 area and lower. Didn't get filled. That is a nice.
Okay, so what's the analysis here with open? They got a new CEO. Is that? I mean, it was selling off. And it just shot up. Yeah, is that?
Yeah.
COO, CFO. This is the analysis. Look, so I kept talking about, I'm in this thing from like 253 somewhere, and I'm not covering until these shorts go down, and they shorted more. So this line right here, this is the amount of short. We know most of the shorts are in the dollar area, and then when it hit $5, they said, yeah, let's YOLO, let's short more. So,
Right.
I'm gonna sell some, probably half or a little bit more at 10. But I'm going to keep the rest until I see these guys have to get out, till I see this chart tick down a bit.
Yeah, they certainly accumulated more yesterday. When they starts looking weak and fading, it's like, okay, let's accumulate more shorts and then come out. I mean, it sounds very orchestrated, right? From yesterday and then coming out with that news. Got to be strategic with the news release.
Well, that's part of the cult following on this thing, right? Is that it's reminding everybody of kind of a GameStop style trade again, where it's only 26% short, but where they're short, I can never, because it was 10% short when it was at $1, and so that means between this kind of $1.50, it went from 10% short to 25. So people took a massive short position when this thing was $1, and like at that point, I'm like, what are you doing? Isn't that a little greedy? Like this was a huge, and you're shorting it now.
I think what it is that this has been a short since 2020, essentially. It's 2022, because remember, this one was in the SPAC game, and it was competing with Zillow. Some people thought it was going to take over and be better than Zillow at one point. And I think they've been short from this name since back then, looking for the $10 move, right? The SPAC trade, right?
We can look at it, right? When it was $1, it's only 10% short.
No.
So now it's 25%. So they were shorting, right? They didn't short it when it was. It's funny when you go back here, it was like 0% short when it was a $24 stock, and then it gets to $1, and they're like, now I'm going to short it. That's why I love positioning, is because they're just wrong so often. You just have to take the other side of them. I'm not going to short this thing when it's 20. I'm going to short it when it's 1, and then I'm going to wonder what happens. Like, maybe. It's like the analyst that downgrades the stock after it gaps down like 50%. And they're like, oh, yeah, now we're going to, not yesterday, now.
Yeah, the same way the Lemon's chasing Oracle, right? Trying to add here on this KLLR. It's already getting up there, guys. I can't even get filled in between the spread. Tells me something here, guys. I might have a really good position. I'm trying to add to it, but KLAR trying to get this thing to really start rocking and rolling. It's back to 45. Exactly what I talked about in the pre-market is happening. I'm just putting it on the radar because this is a IPO. When it goes, it could just go, right? So talked about undercut and rally on this name through the 44, back through 45. So now is when I think it starts to get hot if it gets through that 45. I've been trying to add at 44 where I'm in originally. can't even get the ad. I was just literally just sitting out there like a sitting duck, and it doesn't want to take me. So that tells me something. A lot of times when that happens to me, it's because the stock wants to go and it's not letting me in. So knocking on the door. We'll see what happens in KLAR.
Okay, so the bot, I don't know why, the bot just covered this PNTM short and went long. So it was a good short. It was, $2 or so on the short, and now it flipped and went long. So I got to look at why. It must have existed in two different algorithms, and it kind of got in a bit of a fight there. But just FYI, I'm no longer short this name. I'm long it. So
okay, and then here we go. Watched PTNM to rip to about 150 today. 150,
yeah.
half of about what QMs did.
Yeah, let's hope.
Yeah, WLDS, guys, is a market maker's dream. This thing's unreal. I mean, the offering news and then the fact that it's holding. But it's the Wild Wiki West here, so just be careful with it. I attempted it a few times. Josh, what's your analysis, WLDS?
Yeah, and I've got a line in heavy, strong resistance line there at 8.8, so that's kind of a demand supply zone here. I have one at 6.20 for the demand and supply right there around 8. If it gets back over 8, it could maybe start to possibly take that mob. We get to wilding out again, as we were talking about yesterday. I just still feel, for whatever reason, I kind of was talking about this in my to my group earlier and yesterday in pre-market. You get that crazy good 2-day run, of course, let off really in the end with, Octo going 5,000% in a day. You get QMs go $300 in a day and about 3,000 whatever plus percent, whatever it was. Then Wednesday morning yesterday, we have like a million tickers we're looking at. No one really ever then gathers, like I talk about, the mob and majority of buyers, and you get the good move. So you get a lot of chop left and right from all these tickers, and never anyone can stay consistent. And I think that holds into tomorrow, and that's what I said. Either tomorrow, to me, I call it like a downtrend break. So every day it's kind of gotten a little bit, lighter and lighter and lighter, to where tomorrow is make or break, where we are just like, wow, Monday, Tuesday was nuts. Why are we not trading anything today? Nothing's holding up. Or we're going to have that crazy mega, 3.0 Octo, QMs again, and we'll have another crazy runner. I've kind of been a little lighter today. I traded Mogu earlier in the morning, leaving it alone at now, but we were trading this earlier in the day here. Had some good movement early on. And then what I've seen is I've got my trades in, and then I sit back and wait. And for the next small cap play. What's funny, I will bring this up. I love, and this has been, and I talked about this in my morning alerts this morning, one play I love at the opening bell for you guys is going to be CR. Now, again, if you like kind of a more expensive play, is I love CRCO. This play at the opening bell is so money. And today I said this is going to have another big move at the opening bell. It's all it does is huge moves at the bell. So watch for one. And today it gets a mega monster. And then we go over here and look at the contracts, which I do like to day trade some contracts every once in a while on some options. Look at the move. I mean, you're talking massive 1,100% move, pretty much all at the bell right there. That was one I missed. I'm sitting here staring at small caps, and then traders are coming over and like, oh, Josh, AK God, thank you for Circle. Oh, what a banger. And I look at it and I'm like, no. Beautiful move. And yeah, I love some Circle. Circle K, baby. It's not really Circle K, but I love Circle. It's a good stock.
Yeah, I like that 8 area, WLDS. I'm gonna attempt to stab at it here on a short, 786. I'll start it and give it to about 850.
And I'm going to look for the opposite side of that, Kevin, honestly. I would love the breakout over 8 if we get it, and then I'd be looking for a bounce play back on top of it. So that's what I'm looking for on WLDS, would be a long over that area. And here's that line I have in. WLDS right here is that line I have in, that strong resistance line that Kevin's talking about. I want that move up to around 875, 885, 9 for the breakout. And of course, then it becomes a great bounce play once it breaks out. So you got 2 trades to be had. There are really 3 in the end. Short with Kevin, breakout over it, bounce play on top of it.
Yeah, which one's going to validate? This is certainly, a lot of the mob is here. They went to Heyo, regrouped, and headed back over here with the bearish offering. You don't oftentimes see what this is doing, so that's a little surprising. But we don't trade. We trade what is happening, right? We keep it objective, not what we want to happen. You can't force your will on the market. When you try to force what you want to see happen, that oftentimes doesn't work out too well.
I'm liking your KLAR there, Mitch. Where am I'm
Yeah,
just
I'm trying to stay quiet about it.
it's just come back up to VWAP. It's put in this like base. So if we break VWAP, this could just be a VWAP to VWAP move, and that's the 2-day VWAP is 70 or 48.70. That's a huge. Even if you risk to the low of the day, that risk reward is pretty bananas, like 3 to 1.
Yeah,
So
and
I'm
I'm
watching.
probably as big as I'm probably gonna get on this, but I also just put out orders at 42 to say, hey, if you come back and get me, guess what? I got more ready. I'm gonna go in on this play. I think this one play can get me an easy $1,000 return,
No, it's a
and
and
I'm just gonna ride that.
and it's the fact that that VWAP is lining up with this pre-market low. So if we get through that, and that's sitting around $45, so we just need a clean push through $45, and then we're over the pre-market low. We're already through the post-market low,
Yeah.
and then maybe this thing grinds. And that's not even. I don't even think that's a lofty target at all. It's just get back to the average price of kind of yesterday's action here.
And what it's important to me, Michael, is that I know that I'm subjective, right? But a lot of times I can have like this view in pre-market, and then I want to execute on that view, right? And just try to attack that view. The view for this one was undercut the support 44, look for recovery through 45. And now the price action is matching that, right? So instead of me overthinking it, I'm just trying to go with the action, right? And that's how I think penny stock traders, especially, need to kind of have that closer approach, where I know exactly what I want to execute on, and then when the price action matches that, I execute. If it isn't, I could also just stay on the sideline. What do you guys think about that as our local degenerates?
I love having that title. Go for it, Josh.
Hey, it's a good title to have sometimes when the money comes to the pockets.
I know.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's true for sure, though. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get this WLDS trade right now, so I'm focusing, honing in on WLDS.
Hone in.
Same.
Guys. I just think it's important to like how you're doing right now, Josh. You know exactly what you're looking for. And I think that's the important thing with penny stocks. A lot of times people deviate from the plan. They
100%.
deviate. And when they deviate, they lose big.
I've
They
said for a
pay
long
the price.
And I've got a lesson on YouTube. You can go find it. Create a plan and stick to it. Everyone, yeah, there we go. There's this long right now. I'm trying to get in right field, trying to get filled here on Trade the Pool for this move up. We got a bounce play back on down. So there's your breakout, like I talked about. But you have to sit back and wait for your trades, right, to come to you, whatever it is. But most traders don't ever create a plan. And then when they even, I say create a plan, but they have an entry price and they never have a stop loss. They never have a target. Yeah, there's your breakout.
Stop out of it.
Yeah.
Getting that halt up. Getting that halt up.
This is what I was talking about. WLDS. There you go.
There you go. Good name. WLDS. All right. It's in the top of my scanner too. This scanner doesn't do that bad. I did this really easy with ChatGPT, but like WLDS, right? Right at the top, right? And the key is that it does like a 5% move and a pullback. It's just looking for 5% moves and pullbacks. Right, so GMM there, Maze. I don't know if you guys are watching that one. That's an expensive one, but it's a pretty strong chart. There's LDI. This one's an interesting one to watch, guys. This one can move with the loan department like a firm, and I think it's squeezing, man. Look at this. This is a really strong move, LDI. Loan Depot. We're not talking about just like some, random company. They do loans. I know about them. Specialty finance company, could help like a SoFi kind of get lifted again. A firm is still getting hit, but that one for some reason really strong right now.
Good call on the Mogu, Josh. The thing's lower too. 520's down.
Yep.
Mogu.
Put in a big upper wick towards pre-market resistance and just pulled back heavy off of that.
Yep. Big time. Yeah, that was one I was looking for more continuation on down. Got a little bit of the short there. Looks like kind of like what we should get more of, going back over to Michael's play again today, in the PTNM. You should get some more continuation on down before it gets a pop back on up. So I do imagine Mogu kind of like PTNM to get a pop back up at some point, but definitely good move on down so far.
Q's still hanging in there, guys. We could still make that up move. I think we're just kind of stair-stepping around the VWAPs.
Yeah, I'm just watching. I've got a little order set at 45 to get in, and then just all the orders is kind of associated with it. And then yeah, we just go from there. So I've got the whole trade kind of set up, just so I don't miss it. Right? It's if I'm going to take my one systematic trade, I figure I might as well automate it the best I can. So the idea is, right, we get a tick above $45, going to buy me in. It's going to put a stop around 43.50, and then that 2-day VWAP as a potential target. I just like the look of it. IPOs can be wild, so it can do kind of whatever you want. I see Kevin looking at SLXN. I've been watching that all day. Just stop moving, but we were commenting on that one off the open. It was hilarious. It's like, hey, our drug's great, and then here's an offering. Like,
Oh, that was an interesting one for sure.
2 minutes later, here's your offering. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, another thing to keep in mind, right? With the ones that have been the big runners are in the crypto space, not the healthcare space, right? So expecting that return from these, I think you were a little bit fishing, let's just say.
Yeah, we were monitoring this in pre-market and looking, seeing how heavy it was, looking for the short there, and then boom, there
It's
she
like
goes.
going to your local lake and bringing like a 50-pound hook. You ain't gonna catch a 50-pound fish there, man. What are you doing?
Hey, shooting for the stars.
Yeah,
there's always that guy. There's always that guy, right? You're like, dude, do you really need a hook that big? Like, what do you expect to catch here, dude?
Yeah, that's forcing what you want on the market.
That's it, man. The analogies, man. That's where you can learn the most, I think, a lot of times in the market.
Right.
Psychological, guys.
Yeah.
Open, continuing.
Yeah, don't let me know how I didn't get filled by about 5 cents there. 5 cents for the dip. I called it, wanted it, and just didn't get filled. Had some limit orders in there, and it was a good bounce though. And yeah, definitely Michael's looking like he could get his 10 today, if not by tomorrow.
Well, when they get to 9, oftentimes it's like that gravitational pull to 10.
Call it a magnet. I call it a magnet to 10.
Yeah.
Here's one that's pulled back to VWAP, BMNR, of course, right back at there.
Yeah, I could see it getting to 10 and then just chopping around for a while, but this is going to end unless they're covering now, because this data only comes out every 2 weeks. The last time we got it, they shorted more, but unless they're covering now, this ends in an explosion, right? It ends in just a whoosh, not maybe a size of QMMM, but it ends in like a double one day. And then that's everyone gets liquidated and told to move on with their lives. So, yeah, I'm watching this one close. Oh, I'm trying not to watch this one too close, but I've got my order out there, and it's just resting out there in the market, so I got to see the trade. I just want to get that notification from Interactive Brokers, that British man yelling at me, order filled, and I'll be a happy camper.
Well, there goes your Mogu breakout right there. I wanted to get a little bit of more of a pullback down to 8 for that dip buy. I kept hitting around this 8.10 mark, and there she flies. So that was the move there. Didn't quite get the dip at 8, but the breakout over 8 was key. And like we talked about, that resistance, that major supply zone over and over and over getting hit, and now we fly up where to pre-market high. Not one to be shorting the tops myself, but this is your area. Nice whole round number, of course, probably why Mike was also wanting to take his open trade up to 10. It's just known as a very strong resistance line in small cap plays, especially when you have
a quadruple top up here, though.
Long BMNR
could break up and get through it. I mean, 4th time knocking up here.
Yeah,
I'm avoiding wilds at this point. It's been I hadn't been able to figure out the price action on my end.
Come on, KLAR. Let's go lead the 2, I think, craziest stocks in Wall Street right now. Why not? Let's go KLR, BMNR long. So just pretty much taking the craziest ones right now. Let's go.
You don't want to get into the United Health?
You can ask the guys here how I thought about that dip buy when everyone was like, "Oh yeah, UNH can't go down further."
I own a bunch of UNH. I bought it. I bought it at 250 twice. I bought it the first time. I made like a couple bucks and then got out when it came back down.
Yeah, not for me, man.
but when it spiked, so here I can just show you my trade. So I kind of averaged into a position around here, and then it spiked, and I got out a little bit, and then when it broke back down, I got out. But when it undercut that wick and then bounced back up, this is kind of where I got back in at, like 260, 270. And so far so good. I sold most on that Warren Buffett gap. And then the plan is to, it's like I'm trading around. I took a big position knowing that I wanted to pare it down quickly. And then I want to transfer this over to the account I can't touch for 25 years. Put it away for the kids kind of a trade, because it's just one of the massive, most systemic companies on earth. Sometimes you just get a really good position on a company that you think in the long run is going to do well, and you just have to sit back and let it go. That SLXN's falling.
See, to me, that sounds more like an investment than a trade. That's the difference there, is that if you're going just buy and hold strategy, I think that's completely different than the mentality of trading it. But hey, it's each to its own. Everyone wanted SMCI at some point. It wasn't for me either. I stayed off of it, right? It's just how it is, right? You gotta find what's for you.
Right? Yeah, I've got an alert set on this guy at 63. If we ever get back through there,
I can't touch these. I have rules that tell me not to touch them, so I stick to the rules, right? Find the rules that work for you, right?
You got to stick to your rules, right?
Yeah, to me, it's just not falling knives with DOJ concerns. Those two things just tell me, just don't touch it, Mitch, because one bad trade there could ruin your career. Ruin your career, not a year's worth, a career's worth.
Well, we just heard about that with QMMM. Yeah.
To me, I don't know about you. I'm not trying to ruin my career on any trade.
That's the benefit of buying versus selling is I can put the amount in that if it goes to zero, I'm not I'm mad, but I'm not outside the cup. It's the short side of things. The problem is where you can get a 2,000% loss in your account. It's those things can happen. Whereas unless you're buying on margin or something wild like that, you can only lose what you put into it. So take your trade, and if it's wrong, it's wrong. If UNH went to zero overnight, that's one of those I wish I was growing potatoes and not trading stocks type of thing. It's just such a systemic the way it works. And then with Intel, I'm going to do the same thing, right? Intel's been just beaten up forever, but if we can get over 26 and get a close above 26, I'm buying. But I'm buying enough that if Intel goes bankrupt one day, it's it's like I lose 5 to 10% of my net worth.
My key is the DOJ. Is it ain't coming after that Intel though? If anything, good old Trump coming in with a good old pat on the back.
Oh man.
And that sounds like tailwinds to me. And tailwinds on this name is going to be interesting to watch for.
WLDS halted down.
WLDS.
Dude, this
Good
name.
Lord.
Wild now, baby.
Wild now. SLXN just tanking.
Ouch.
He almost knew it would, but man, this just makes me feel bad because somebody bought this thing at 30 bucks, 25, 30 bucks, and bam. So now it might be interesting. If it undercuts this wick and then starts to rally back up, that might be an interesting one. And then I'm just sitting in this KLAR and just not doing anything here.
So on that XLN, on the SLXN, we've talked about this a little bit, how sometimes the gap zone and the holds can act as the resistance area. In this case, it seems like it was exactly that. So I think the short on this, if you were going after it and trade the pool, would have been near that $6 spot, right? Because you get to that opening halt, it starts then, and then you finally get a down halt, but you're probably not fast enough to catch that, right? That creates that kind of resistance look where it's at right there at 630s. So you getting in near 6, risking towards that 630 could have been kind of the approach there for SLXN if you wanted to take that, right? So where the halts are, a lot of times they'll start acting as resistance, especially if it's an up halt followed by a down halt. There is some pressure there, right there. If it gets back above that, yeah, you could watch it. But other than that, this looks like a fade back to 4. Of course, the offering price at $4.
Yeah, it's one of those. No dog in the fight, but I just feel bad for the poor guy who bought it at $25 today because they did something good and helping out with cancer. And then the company goes, we had these letters. You can't write them and file them in 2 hours. Like, we had these ready to go. They were sitting on a lawyer's desk somewhere, ready just to hit the button. I bet you they're peeved that they only got $4 as their offering too, right? Like, if you had just let it go for the day, probably might not have closed at 30, but might have closed at 10, and then you could have done an offering somewhere at 10 instead of at 4. It just seems that doesn't instill confidence in a management that is doing that way.
ETA is coming back here, guys. We'll see if it starts to get going. The 15-minute chart has a nice look towards 42 here. You look on the hourly charts, right? That's what you want to kind of look a little bit further back. Can we finally get above 42? ETH or ETHU start to rip here. Looking to see if that can help my BMNR take off here. We'll find out.
KLAR moving a bit here.
I'm up 2% on it. I'm not even trying to look, man. I'm up with like $300 on it. And remember, I changed my net today. I didn't put cash. I showed everyone in the chat how you could adjust this, not putting dollar amounts and percentages. That's helping me not freak out here and run to the profits because it's only 2% in my eyes versus what, it is in the dollar amount, which I look down and it can get me really quickly to run for that cash, right?
Could not agree more with doing that. Again, I keep telling the story about how basically I have my whole setup always conditioned to never show me P&L numbers. I don't want to see them. There is no benefit to me knowing how much money I am up or down on any day. It just does not help me at all because it should be
the output of seeing that is emotion, right? It's no matter if anybody, whoever you are, you see money go up and down, you react what? You don't react a lot of times like this isn't like choosing left and right. No, you get emotional, right? Yeah. And it's also it increases the uncertainty, right? Because now you're seeing things go back and forth. And I think that's very important. One of the things is the attachment to money, right? How attached are you to money? This has a big thing to do with it. And if you're attached to money, or maybe you've just been attached to losing, trust me, the moment you see red, you're like, I gotta get out.
Mm-hmm. No, and it's that's a tip that I was given like day one in the prop firm like 20 years ago. And back then I just always talk about it. You just take the sticky part of the Post-it note and you just put it on the places of the screen. So when I open the application every morning, everything P&L was hidden and I would only know what I made or lost that day. At the end of the day, I would always take an export of everything I did that day and dump it into Excel. That's the only time I knew whether I was really up or down that day. Because other than that, don't care. So on my trade the pool, I have, and I can show you, I have exposure numbers. And that's just the way to tell me whether or not a position has kind of gotten a rise. So I use the position exposure, which is just the dollar amount that you have invested. And I have the same kind of thing here for interactive brokers where I don't want, right? So I only know each. That's just so that if one came through here at like 10 grand or something for my $25,000 account, I would know, hey, maybe I should look at that account, or that particular trade, something crazy's happened there. But other than that, don't want to see. Not interested.
Josh, this sloppy pop right here is so tempting to short, but I'm avoiding it.
I wanted to dip at 8. I was like, I wanted to dip at 8 for a WLDS. It didn't. It's just not giving me my 8. So it is what it is. It is what it is.
We just gotta watch. Yeah, guys, I'm in. I took AIRE. It's a little penny play, but 120 is holding up there. AIRE is up a couple 100%. I'm gonna see if 120 will hold there. Size it there. They just regained compliance was the news, so we'll see if that one stays heavy and fade. But outside of that, I agree with everything that was just said. I mean, one of the biggest problems I had and still struggle with is like when I'm wrong, I tend to be hopeful, and then when I'm right, I tend to be fearful of losing, so I take off the money early. Like that is so backwards. You gotta change that. You gotta be kind of aggressive when you're right. And when you're wrong, you gotta get that hope out of your system and just take the losses.
Humans were not psychologically designed to trade. That's why most people lose, because everything we are wired to do is the exact opposite of what it is that we should actually be doing. So yeah, you have to come up with whatever it takes to reframe, rewire, whatever it is, because yeah, we were not meant. It's just it's why most people lose. Everything that you want to do instinctually in trading is the wrong thing to do, basically. So you have to. That's why plans and systems and little tricks like hiding your P&L, all those things are super important, because otherwise you're going to do a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter, right? Or is counterproductive, right?
Quick little tidbit, 100% agree. Y'all have already talked about that. I haven't had my P&L up since 27, just like Michael. I think it's like a Christmas present at the end of the day. When I go back over my trades, like, oh, okay, so this is what I made today. Oh, this is what I made today. Oh, mom and dad.
Today.
I was about to say, or a lump of coal some days too, right?
Yeah, and yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. But that's why I kind of label it like that. Real quickly, also, MSC, sketchy, low volume, small cap play is halting up. So MSC here, another kind of one out of nowhere. Yeah. Merrill Lynch, baby. Studio City. I don't know what exactly is going on there, but I have the Merrill Lynch logo on my thinker.
On less than 30,000 shares. Okay.
And
we'll see if the mob heads over there. Yeah, I see 7 8 resistance there.
ADR, so it's listed somewhere. TradingView doesn't have any news since August 22nd.
Yeah.
So yeah, be careful, but it could be interesting. Let's look at a daily chart on this thing. It's at least it's a company that's existed since 2018, so it's a thing anyway.
Right?
It is a thing.
It's not just this. Right? Some of the times you see these things just pop up in like a day and then just go right back down, and it's 100% just a chat room bump or something after that.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, and I always said that too back in the day. I've noticed that the ADRs, got to be careful trading those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially the Chinese ones. I know a couple people who are really well known, like penny stock shorter guys, and they do really well. And I've chatted with some of them, and a lot of them just say no to anything Chinese related. Right? They look into the board, and they look to see like who's actually running the company, because even if it's ADR'd, not in China, and they just say absolutely not, because the games are just too. And I think QMMM may have been one of those things as well.
Well, I believe NASDAQ put some new requirements on Chinese tickers being listed. They can't be under a certain float. And, QMMM was, QMMM was like a 40-some million float. So they met the requirements, and still it traded like a tiny float, ticker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I read the way they get around that is that it's technically all out there, but like they just give a lot of the float to one dude and just tell them not to sell. So it's like the float number says one number, but then the rest is just held by some dude, and he's told very strongly by China and a lot of the people that are there to not sell this, do not take a trade off this.
You saw what happened to the last guy that sells.
Yeah.
They can use like different funds, right? And then a person is buying, but the fund is selling. Mm-hmm. Little tricks like that, right?
All types of games, right? That's why I like price. It's the one thing you can't mess with. It is the price at which people were willing to trade the security at, and then you derive everything else off of that one thing. It's the only thing that cannot be messed with. Right? Give me any economic numbers, any fundamental data, whatever it is, can be messed with. Right.
All right, guys, looking around out there to see what other trades I can get into. Looks like the playbook on point today, but we'll see if AMD can bounce back. UMAC and RCAT were two of the names that I was pitching on Trader TV this week as trade ideas, and look at those trades looking beautiful. Beautiful, guys. I've been talking about the DJI band and things like that. Look at that UMAC break. Similar patterns repeat, guys. I'll tell you that all the time, guys. So looking to see that this one keeps going. The key here, I was trying to get in this at 10 yesterday, and should have just maybe just left it on. I got towards the end of the day and I was like, you know what, I'm going to cut it for the tiniest loss, like 10 or 15 bucks, just because it wasn't moving, but it was a good look there. As it starts to take off today, it didn't even give me a chance to get in. But RCAT, even better breakout there. Look at that one from 870s today to 1071. Look at the trend line drawn. Drew this when? On the 19th of August, it literally running right to it, right? That's why I like that it tells you when I drew it, because there's no cherry picking there. It's literally drawn right there because of the way the trend line would look. Now this really starts to look a lot better on the weekly, right? Now this looks like a nice little cup and handle attempt trying to break above 11 and maybe get to 15s and above, right? So we know how drones are leading a lot of the talk and conversations of military, right? We just heard what? We just heard about Russian drones going into Polish airspace, right? So things like that continue to bring the conversation up.
IWM, man. When's the last time I just brought it up? Like, holy smokes, look at this. This is small caps, just ripping. And then you take a look at the Qs, and it's doing okay, but it's just kind of been farting around all day. But yeah, we're seeing a big move here in small caps, mid caps the same way, and then RSP equal weight at large caps is doing great. So this is again one of those days, not entirely into just what's the biggest company moving higher. Getting a lot of, I talked about it before, right? XLF, this is insanity, this chart. Financials doing amazing. Healthcare doing great. Yeah, just take a look elsewhere from just the big cap tech names, at least today.
I hate people that do that. I'm just looking at a technical analyst that put an inverse head and shoulders base from the bottoming and saying we're going to 655s. I guess, man. I hate. I don't like those base kind of reads and then just being like, oh yeah, I can just measure the bottom. It's gonna tell me exactly where we're gonna stop at the top. I can't do that. I can't do that, guys. No, especially because it's such a far outlook, right? You're talking from 5,700 down to like 4,900, and then drawing this like kind of weird inverse head and shoulders pattern. And it's by like some guys that like, you know, I like Frank. I'm not going to completely hit on Frank on it, but and I'll show you guys it. It's on Twitter here. Might as well kind of bring it in as a conversation here on Twitter. So they're talking about this base on the SPY, right? On the SPX, right? So that you can measure this base and this inverse head and shoulders is going to bring us up to that level. I think that's a little bit far-fetched.
Oh, we're there. I think we were already past that. Right? So what are we at? 650. Yeah, we're past that by 20 points now. So unless he's saying that that's going to be it.
Yeah, like he was like saying like that's how you measured the move there, and that's how you knew that it was going there, and
that's how Edwards and McGee, right? I don't know how. I'm not a huge classical technician, but that's how it was published in Edwards and McGee. I just don't think there's a way to pick. Just like I wouldn't pick a bottom, right? I'm not going to pick a top kind of thing.
I agree. That's my biggest thing with that. It's just there's nothing that gives you that in April. Let's just say that much, right? There's something that gives you that now, looking back, right? But looking back like 6 months, I think it's never anything that does anybody good in financials unless you're trying to do like statistical data looking forward, right? That's a little bit different. But hey, that's like everybody that's out there that says they called the bottom in April that day, you know. They called it that day. They knew it was going to turn around.
Trading that egotistical crystal ball.
Yeah. On April 8th, I was telling everybody to buy.
Yeah,
that's just how it goes. BMN are doing a little bit of a pullback here, guys. I'm really closely watching this ETH chart. Because look at it. It looks so prime, like it wants to run. Needs volume today to really get going. How's the overall futures looking there, or the actual coin, Michael? How's that on Ethereum here?
It's been lagging a little bit, but we're right.
Take a look into the cryptos for us.
We were red here on Bitcoin in the morning. We flipped green. Use like an hourly chart or so. Trying to break these highs, struggling a little bit. Ethereum's been a little bit weak, right? So it's not quite near that high. And then Solana's been leading the charge here, but they all kind of look the same. Where this is the right after that kind of jobs report inflation number, chopping around and trying to break higher. This Solana chart is looking a little bit extended, but we're up 15% here in pretty much straight line. And yeah, this is one of those. We're up like 5 days in a row in Solana, and then everything else has been lagging just a bit. I told you guys I bought yesterday a little bit of Ethereum just because I absolutely love how tight this consolidation has gotten. If we're going to shoot at highs and we're going to break highs, it's like a 20% possible gain for like a 5% risk. You kind of have to mathematically take that. You just by law. And Bitcoin, the same thing. Just acting technically perfect. Just hope nothing comes out to screw it up.
Josh, you looking for a short on WLDS, you think, under 8?
Yeah, I'm kind of just going across the board right now, looking for, like you said, TGO really seems to be your other mover. Open, I like that. That's a slow and steady, but TGO, but there's really kind of getting that slow wind down, and that's what I'm thinking we're going to get from WLDS, that Wilds, and we got that yesterday as well. Kind of a sell off there mid-morning, later in the day from a lot of trades that kind of spike up. Traders move away, they go eat some food, volume dies down, and here's that dip I was talking about. Watch for a dip down around that VWAP. I'm going to see if this curls back to the VWAP and that 8 for the short.
TGL with the same news. AIRE has regaining NASDAQ compliance.
I just love that. It's like you are just not crap enough that we won't kick you off the exchange. Everyone's like, yo, good work.
That's great news, man. Great.
You got a 51% on your report card. Everyone's celebrating.
Yeah. Well, with that analysis, I'm going to go short. Yeah. I like the short here on it, really. I mean, we'll see what the mob does. A lot of resistance overhead, though. I mean, and it's up, like 100% off of that news. Yeah. You got a D on your report card, and everyone's just flooding over here because they want it so badly. Yeah, there's plenty of other stocks that are actually listed that are not on the brink of collapse.
Yeah, it's just skin of your teeth you've hung on just not to get kicked off the NASDAQ for now. And then everyone's super excited. It doesn't make any sense. I for one, I get it. I get the dollar rule. I get why they have the dollar rule. It's like an aesthetic thing that you don't want to have penny stocks on your exchange. But in practicality, the price of your stock is the most irrelevant thing in the world. Like
they just forward split over and over and over and over.
Yeah, so you make them play this silly little game. Let the stock go down to a penny or a sub penny. Who cares? It's the company is worth. I could see having a market cap requirement. Your company has to be worth more than $100 million to be on the NASDAQ. Whatever the price of your stock is, who cares, right? There's, guys like Warren Buffett who just refuse to split for some dumb reason. And then the price of your stock you can manipulate by splits and reverse splits and dividends, and it is the least important metric of what it is, right? So I think it's an antiquated rule. I think it's one of those that I don't think your company has become that much more valuable when it's at $1.02 than it was at like 98 cents.
All right, guys, got cut out in AMDL there, and I'm back in. So I'm just cutting out here and then looking to establish a higher position size at a lower rate here. Just wanted to put that out there for AMDL. It needs to kind of hold right here, though. I'll do it with a really tight stop. So I'll go down like 10 cents stop and looking for a reversal off of this. And it would be to make my money back and just position myself for the long term in AMD. We'll see what happens there. It's definitely not been a pretty day for AMD, but the Qs are still holding relative, and I'm looking to see what happens to NVIDIA here, if it can get back above VWAP.
And back to that TGL, I've just noticed that since my early trading days, I'm like, what? That's it. You would see it spike, the TGL news, regaining compliance. I'm like, why? And you see it spike. You're like, why? But it's just a recurring theme through the years.
Yeah.
And it happens every single time. You'll see the spike back on up. Got to get back over $1.
Yeah, well, they're just saying, okay, well, you don't have to do that the kiss of death, the reverse split, right? That's the kiss of death. It's the moment you have to do that quite often. There was a big study done. I should find it and give it to the chat. But there was a study done, and generally speaking, if you just shorted stocks after they did a reverse split and held them forever, you end up making money. Now, that would be hard to do because quite often you get these massive spikes in the long run. But it's just once you do a reverse split, that's it. You're done. Most times, right? Exception. To
Yeah, I started seeing them. I think I mentioned this before. They'll do the reverse split and, of course, dilute their shareholders. And then they have, because of the float's now lower, that's when they come out with like their best PRs the day later or the day of, to try to inflate their stock up.
I always say I'm obviously not a fundamental analyst, but the two things, if you're going to hold these things for any length of time, these sub penny stocks, is you're just looking for what's the probability they're going to dilute you. So you take a look at how much cash do they have and what's their burn rate. And, if their cash is near zero and they're burning cash all the time, they have to dilute you. It's how it has to work. There's no other way around it. They have to get the money somewhere or the company goes under. So,
all right. As we wrap up here, 11 o'clock, guys, I'll wrap up on my trading here. Not a bad day overall. Still taking the trades in, of course, the day trading account here at TGL. We'll see if it gets moving there. Just had it on the screen there. It doesn't look too bad there, but
this SL XN real quick. This is
starting
the
to
crazy
pop.
one today. It ripped and halted. So it did that drop out of this base and then ripped and it just halted up. And again, I'm just it's like, hey, my system's going to trade things anyway, so I'm just going to keep an eye on these crazy ones. So I've devoted a little bit of my screen to like these thumbnail charts. So that's how I'm noticing all these.
It looks
just
like a
crazy.
decent dead cat bounce after that sell off.
Yeah. So I wonder now, if they're smart, they yanked the offering and they said, no, well, we're joking. We're not going to do an offering. And then let it rip to like $20 or something. Okay, now we're doing the offering.
JK, just kidding.
No. That was our intern. Don't worry, we fired that guy. No offering. Let it get to $20, and then you got to be mad if you're doing your offering at $4. That means you're raising money at $4 a share.
Yeah, that means that the banks that you went to prior to this were like, your stock's worthless, bro. Like, what do you want us to give you, bro? Like.
And now, if they had just let this thing trade for the day, say it closed at $10, it's way easier to go out there and say, "Hey, let's do an offering for $8," and then you have to dilute. Either you raise double the money or you dilute half as many shares.
This is why you get pop and drops with a lot of these companies, right? Because at the end of the day, and a lot of traders kind of look for these too. There's those traders out there that are looking at runways and looking how much money these companies have. And I'm sure this company was very slim on that money.
Let's take
right? That kind of mentality. You got to do your research, right? Like there's another way of doing things in the penny stock game. And it used to work for me when I did like a lot of research on these names, trying to hone in on the A+ names before they move. But you got to dig. You got to dig, bro.
Yeah, this is one thing, again, not a fundamental guy at all, but TradingView actually does a pretty good job. So they lose money. So this chart is just their EPS. We do annually, right? They're expected to lose money this year. They lost money last year. And then you can just go down here and they have $5 million in cash. That's it. So they have $5 million cash and you're burning cash every quarter. You got to do something. And you've got $3 million in debt that you have to service. So,
well, KLAR working here. We'll look for a ripper and a $1,000 trade in that bad boy, up 2.7% in there. Going to hold on for BMNR. Definitely bottoming around this 48. So BMNR, like you can see how it keeps bottoming around that 48. We'll see if it just makes a nice rocket candle. A lot of this, I think, was going to depend on that Ethereum move. I also have this on the swing. And you guys see that AMDL just reopened with the size. Like I told you guys, I was going to size 10 cents open, risk down towards 950s, and then size back in there off the 960s. Now it's back up, and I got 964 with 500 shares, where earlier I had like 300. So not looking too bad. I'll take a shot there on the swing. ETH also on the swing, and we'll leave you with the boys in the penny game. So hey, keep getting after it, man. It's good to see you, Michael, like always.
Yes, and I will just FYI, I'm off Monday and Tuesday for a trader event, so I will see you guys probably on Wednesday. I get in at like 3 in the morning, so we'll see how if I'm awake at all, if there's any delays. But yeah, everyone trade safe out there.
All right, bro. Have a good safe trip.
Money Mitch and Nos. Yep.
All right, guys. So now I'm going to do the process of removing people because I feel like this is how it works here on our platform here. So this is on Josh's screen. Now let's go to Kevin's screen. And now, no, Michael. Okay, now remove myself. Are you ready for this one? Ooh.
And just like that.
Selling off right now. I'm in this 167 average, and then AIRE's right near my stop. That one around 122. And then I got the QMMM, Josh. I got that on the other account, just kicking back with that up a little bit on the QMMM. Trying to work a short there on the fade, but of course that name's very that's a scary one to be involved with. So stop on that up and over like 100.
Yeah, hey, it's fun. Listen. Every once in a while, you gotta have a little fun with those. Go small, but man, when you have, you don't get it that often. So when you get them, you got to have a little fun with them. And that was a gorgeous play on Tuesday. Absolutely.
Wait, go small. You weren't so small on that though, were you?
No, I wasn't.
You were not so small on that one. Oh. I saw that. I was like, "Oh my god, that is heavy."
I fat fingered that in. By the way, I put one extra zero on there and didn't
okay.
Yeah. Trust me, my heart was pounding, brother. Heart pounding. Trust me. Yeah, it was a great trade. It was great, But yeah, it was one of those ones where you're like, "Oh, what'd you just do?"
Well, I just thought you had a heart of steel. I mean, 500. Oh my god. Yeah. Good work there, though. Good. Great profit. I mean, you trade well, like Michael Noss said with his bot. Just trade systematically, and sometimes you get lucky along the way. Yeah.
Oh god, yeah. You get a $20 gap up, you just look up above and go, "Thank you so much."
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'll swing it over to you. What are you looking at right now?
The one thing I'm going to be patient on is this short on WLDS. Like I said, this kind of this backside fader, lunch move type of move. Longs move away from it a lot of the time. Now this may squeeze for more, but I love how I've got all of my support area built into one price, and essentially the $8 mark, and that's what I was kind of hoping for. So the trend that we have built for the day is worked into this. The old resistance support level is there at 8, and then you have the VWAP right above it. So I know if I get back below this 8 and trend line, we're going to get bearish. And we have room to run down. This old plateau right here, 750, we could really start to move. Then I just go back. What did you do the last time you cracked this area? Well, you had a pretty good short. You came down, you retested it right here once, then came down even more to 7, came up, retested again, came down further. I liked seeing that. And so I always do that as well. I not only see, I see a setup in market, but what did you do the last time you went back through and cracked 8? You had a pretty good short to begin with, and they actually had a couple areas to actually get yourself back in the trade if you wanted to as well. So that's what I'm waiting for. Sit back, patience this time of the day, not trying to take too many trades, winding down for the day and looking for one last good trade, which this I like a lot on WLDS. So I'm just sitting back waiting on it, my man, sitting back waiting on it. I did like Circle earlier. I wanted to actually take this long when we were just in the last hour, just like open. It didn't quite come down to the line I wanted. I wanted this little deviation channel to get touched, and I did not get filled. And then, oh my gosh. And just so you can see, I want everyone to see where these contracts have gone to for the day. Look at this. Look at this right here. Opened up around the 30, 40, 50 cent mark and ran to 950. Right now, currently up 1,300% on these Circle contracts. Yow! And that reminds me of the QMs or Octo or all the craziness we've seen this week in small caps.
Yeah, this week's been rather interesting.
Yeah. Haven't seen anything like this since 2020, 2021. Have had some sparks here and there, but nothing to where.
But even to this degree, I mean, we got the GME up to what $400 or $500, but that was over the course of days. That UMMM was one day. 8 to
Yeah.
300. Have we seen anything like that? I'm trying to recall.
Yeah, well, in 2020 I did see a lot. I wish I would have wrote them all down. The next house we have, I'm gonna have a massive 8-car garage being built, and I'm gonna have about an 800 square foot bonus room above it. So my office space is just gonna be massive. I'm gonna get one of those 365 calendars that's just huge. It's like you can see the full day. Like right, you can go up and then mark on it. Oh, what happened back
have
on
a map. You got
right? Yeah. So every day I'm gonna start keeping track of that because I wish I could remember the stocks we saw in 2020 because of COVID. But one of the last ones we saw actually was in 2022 when we started slowing down. In 2022, I forgot what the play was. I know one I can tell off the top of my head, and you can see this one. We'll go to GSLI in 2020. So we'll go back here. We'll go to GSLI. This is one ticker, or GL. It's GLSI. Okay, yep, I remember that. It's a medical stock. Came out with phase 3 news with breast cancer. Positive phase 3 news with breast cancer.
Okay.
Man, if we go back further than 5 years here. This play ran from like 5 to 150 in one day. This was in DC. There we go. So there's a pretty decent one right there. So gapping up from 4, gapping up to 15, running to 158 one day. And that was in December of 2020. And I was calling this because it's like I was seeing this trend back to the shippers, and we would see those. We talked about that.
Yes, all the shippers. Oh, yeah, the dries and the tops.
Right. And so what I kept seeing every year was October would get hot. And then you'd get in October 15th through the 20th, and I'll just show you. Oh, what is Trump's play now? What is it now? The ticker here. It was DWAC. It was DWAC, wasn't it? Wasn't it DWAC?
You're just saying DJT?
Was it DJT? Is that what it's called? That right? Because we can go back in time in this one. This was in October 21st, 2021.
Okay.
October 21st. Well, no, it's not going to be DWAC, though. Yeah, it is. I got to go back further. Come on, let's go back a little further, Joshua. Let's go back a little further here. I'm going to see if it's October 21st. Let's see if I'm right. What day is this? October 21st was the first. There you go. October. End of the 22nd. And then right after that, I remember BKKT ran that around that same time that year. But I remember these certain plays. You could tell back to what Michael was talking about. Oh, has this play been reverse split or what? BKKT was never $1,270. I promise you that right there. So here's another play that's been reverse split.
So funny. Like,
but we did. I can't remember them all. But yes, in 2020, we saw some crazy banger plays. But point being, what I was getting at with that trend there with BKKT and DWAC, or DJT now, essentially late October, last 2 weeks is when most years in small capville would get hot. Then it would die out that like about the middle of November. And I don't know what it is, but that week right before Thanksgiving, we get hot again. And then we lull out. I always call it the Thanksgiving hangover from everyone traveling, eating, shopping from Black Friday to Cyber Monday. And that week afterwards is a little slow. But that first full week of December, you usually get hot again in the year. And that's where that GLSI is. You can see. And I was calling it that year. This is in 2020. Guys, we're going to have the bangers coming. The big daddy's coming. And then that sets off this chain reaction event to where then you have all these other tickers. But my first one ever, just go back in time here. I feel like we're doing book reports here. Is Elfin. Elfin back in 2017. So this is when everyone was moving to blockchain technology, and I'll go back further in time here. This is one of the first ones I watched in 2017, and my mouth is just jaw dropped watching a play go from essentially the $5-6.
Your wife will be like, you can't find the milk, you can't find your keys, the ketchup in the refrigerator, but October 21st, 2020.
Oh, I hear. Watch, I'll show you this. Watch. September 23rd, September 21st.
Heck yeah.
Sun W, back in 2021. Let's see if I'm right. If it's September 23rd, 24th. And where is it at? Where's 2021? Oh, here it is. Here's 2021. So I'll go further in 2021. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, was it 2020 then? It was 2020. So it was 2020. So this one was 2020. Where's it at here? Is this it right here? No, that's in 19. So I'm going too far back here. Where's 2020? There she is. There's the spike. It doesn't look as big anymore, but there she is. September. Was it the 23rd? September 23rd. Yeah. So like, if I ever forget anything, yeah, exactly. My wife's like, you can remember September 23rd, 2020, and it's S. Sun W or what anyway.
Sun W. That's too funny.
Yeah.
Guys, here we go. TGL, good work if you caught that one. Got it a couple stabs at it up there towards resistance from pre-market. I like to trade this edge. Tickers that, I mean, we saw this with a few different names this morning. Not just TGL popping up towards pre-market resistance, but it was Mogu as well. Mogu had a big upper wick up towards pre-market resistance. You can wait for this at the open, guys. Just trading these tickers as they approach pre-market resistance. What creates that resistance? It's just longs that were buying this there. They're looking to get out, break even. The psychology of it. Now, again, if you're not into small caps, Josh and I have a whole series coming out soon. We did filmed 1 and filmed 2, and we're doing 3 today, which they're going to be in the VOD on the website. So be looking out for those if you're not familiar with some of these setups, but we're going to run through all of it. And even... was it HAO? HAO, the same thing, guys. It's pattern recognition. HAO shot right up, dude. Oh, this one bugs me. I didn't take it. HAO right to the magic 20 and right up to pre-market resistance in the 220s and right back on down. What goes up comes down. Gravity takes over. That was an excellent setup. So that's already three that did that edge where you had the move in pre-market. You have some more longs coming in at the open, and you just short into that pre-market resistance. So great edge. I love to trade that one. What are you looking at, Mr. Josh?
Yeah, waiting on WLDS. Literally just came down to that $8 mark and kind of bounced back on up. So just waiting for that confirmation back below 8 for the short. I use candlestick confirmation. But yeah, HAO, speaking of that, as soon as you brought that up, because I wasn't looking at it, I put orders in a little higher than where you were, where the short was, which that magic 20 you talked about. Because you go to pre-market, there's so many upper shadows and failing at 220. I put it one at a little bit higher at the 235, 240 mark, thinking it might jump up a tad higher. It didn't, and right at that 220 area fell and just coils right back on over. Gorgeous short. I mean, you talk about it, a 1 minute trade, you could have gotten in about 220 or so, right back on down to 160 in about 1 minute. I mean,
picture perfect. Absolutely picture perfect. That's bread and butter right there. But never trade with certainty, guys. I mean, this is the bread and butter. I get convicted with these names, and you don't want to trade that conviction. I mean, you want to take the setup. We go over this. I mean, you can have paralysis by analysis, and I have that a lot, Josh. Like I'll hesitate too much, so then I don't involve myself in the trade. And if you don't involve yourself in the risk, you never reap the favorable outcome of that risk. It's like sitting down at the table of poker and not even putting chips on the table. You're just sitting there like a deer in headlights, stunned. You
Right.
don't want to be like an analyst that doesn't even involve yourself in the risk. So you got to know the setups, but then not only that, you got to execute on them. But we're going over, there's a lot of really good setups this morning. I know Josh is watching WLDS right now. What a pullback there under VWAP, that lower wick, and getting bought right back up. This, like I said earlier, this has been a market maker's dream this morning. So much volatility, price action here that I'm just kind of watching it right now, and I know Josh is being very patient with it as well.
Yeah, and SPY too. I'm looking at it. Still new high. I talked about that earlier. Looking like it wants to go for more, and sure enough, SPY just chug-a-lugging to new all-time highs. And yeah, that's the thing with trading. You have to have. And those market makers are having a heyday this week.
Man.
They're having they're loving life this week. They're like, this is our Christmas.
Yeah.
When you get trades like, even SLXN, the market, all the market orders flowing in out of that, just, whoops to start the morning. I mean, how many market orders there probably were? And of course, just going back to Michael's play, on, even yesterday. I mean, they're just loving life with this play, and this, especially on Tuesday. This is a market maker's dream. They're just taking people's money left and right. And then like Kevin was talking about, you get down to this area and soaks down, and how many traders here, get stopped out of their long and then right back on up it goes, and or vice versa, look to go short, like traders up here look to go long or look to go short, and then it's right back on up. That's what patience, as we talked about, is such a key factor when it comes to stock trading. I know they talked about it, touched on it earlier. The mental side of trading, the psychological side of trading, that's ridiculously key. And if you can't get that down, like we're not really wired to be able to trade stocks and manage money like this.
Yeah, Douglas says 80% psychology, 20% technique. I couldn't agree more. I mean, couldn't agree more.
No. Let's see, KA74. How is the bot doing? Please give updates. I like how you now have a new name, KA74.
KA74. How's the bot? Well, I mean, I don't have the Trend Spider bot. I don't have one of those yet. My brother's a software engineer, and we created a bot with Interactive Brokers that we've been working on for years. And we got about 5-6 years of back testing done on that. So that's more of I need to create a bot for the hangover trading, Jason. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with those setups, but right now the bot I have is just on Euphoria, like taking pretty much the opposite side of some of those trades, with tighter risk, looking for volatility, and managing the risk. But the guys we were talking about today earlier, Mitch and Nos and Josh here, we were talking about how 90% of traders, I mean, you get into trading and you oftentimes do exactly what you shouldn't do. That is, you see something going up and you you buy high and hope higher. Now, over the years, and I know Josh does very well at some of these plays, like the QMMM. That was going up. Obviously, like in the moment, it probably feels like, well, this is 8 to 40. This feels like I'm buying high. But then when you look in hindsight, you're like, well, 300 looks kind of high on that. Now, 40 looks like I'll take that trade. I'll take the trade off there and get in at 40. So you got to know the risk. If you're trading those momentum names, you just have to have your finger on the trigger, right, Josh? I mean, when you're getting involved with that, you know exactly your exit. The difference between you and some of the newer traders would be they're thinking about money, and you're thinking about the risk applied here. You certainly don't want to adjust those risk parameters mid-trade.
Yeah, and one thing I always talk about for kind of magnets, like we were talking about earlier, Kevin, and you're talking about gravitates, magnify. I was talking about whatever the verbiage is essentially the same. Mm-hmm. When you give these plays that haven't been, and I'll just go back to the 1 year one day here. Of course, you can go back in time and see that. Yeah, Octo hasn't been up in this area in like ever. So when Octo gets to moving, and it's my rule of thumb in magnet. And I did it 3 times in a row, my friend, and everyone else, friends out there listening. I told everyone in my live stream, and I did this live in front of everybody on Monday, and I got in on this breakout. I said over 35, it's going to 40, and it's most likely going to gravitate magnet right to 50. And sure enough, boom, shakalaka, right up to 50 plus. And then it actually holds my breakout area of 35. I think it was like, I forgot where I got in anymore on Octo. It seems like it's been 8 years ago since I traded this, how many tickers we've looked at this week. But this is what then we hold it and go for more. Now, of course, I was in this trade here and out of this trade ultimately right in this because I saw this massive upper shadow. And like anyone thought, okay, that's probably going to be a topping tail. I'm going to leave that alone. I'll take my profit. And I got about $5 to $6 out of Octo. Well, let's fast forward to the very next morning and see WD. And I'm on my live stream as well in the morning saying, guys, rinse and repeat the process here, right? And again, over this $35 mark, look where we gravitate to, right to 50. I got like 10 out of that one. And then you just go back to, of course, then the QMs and what do we do when we get over that level on Tuesday, later on the day on Tuesday. So back-to-back, almost back-to-back trades it felt like. Of course, this one was a little closer to lunch. But again, it's hard to see now, this 35 break. But again, over 35, we just magnet. Of course, we were all kind of, this is what me and Kevin were talking about earlier. I got in a little bigger than I wanted to, and heart palpitations. I'm like, oh boy, I'm going to have a heart attack. This thing was halted for 30 minutes, and that generally is going to lead to a massive gap up or gap down. And so I knew I was either going to be up a lot or I was going to be down. And sure enough, it gaps all the way up. Halts up at 69 anyway.
That was a long 30 minutes, huh?
Yeah, oh God, it felt like 2 hours, bro.
Were you just glued to your computer?
Yes.
Yes. When did you realize you had fat fingered? I mean, when you
right after, because I got in, and right after I got in, it halted up right here. So it halted up, and it was right after I got in. Oh, dude, trust me, I was scared. I say scared, but it was a little.
Well, you're 10x the size you wanted to be.
Yeah.
Reason to be.
But that's it. That break. So just guys, remember, we may see one more, and I hope we break the downtrend, so to speak, in this kind of slow downtrend we've had overall since Tuesday. Craziness. Wednesday, not as crazy. Now today, not even right. So tomorrow, it's either going to be like today and not really that great, really, as far as real true big. I mean, I say great. It's going to be plenty of trades, but not like Monday and Tuesday and these massive supernovas. Or we may get that one more CWDQ, Octo. And if we do, and you see a play that's single digits and it hasn't been to 20 and 30 in a very long time ever.
We're gonna find. Well, I was just gonna say, like, we can find previous plays like that had the volatility. Like I'm sitting here working QMMM probably all day with 10 shares up $112. I mean, we're certainly going to find some plays, like this that are fading throughout the day. That's what I like about Fridays, in particular, is you can catch some of these like WLDS today. We could probably catch that on a short tomorrow, Josh, and the longs just are absent.
Yeah,
so it's trading like the sentiment, right? We go over that like even earlier, when Mitch was talking about healthcare versus Bitcoin related plays, because I think it was ST, one of the plays that just gapped down entirely this morning in pre-market. They came out with the offering. It was SLXN. Yeah, because it wasn't in the right sector. So it's understanding like just the market sentiment, the feel, knowing when to size up, size down, what to trade, what not to trade. Fridays, I tend to just lean more like on bleeders, on Fridays going into those days.
And it could be that tomorrow, and getting back to that, like you said, QMs were tomorrow, that we're bound for a $30, $40, $50 pullback day, where it just gives back some gains and it's giving back some dramatically. So that definitely is going to be on watch for me tomorrow. Those almost like you have those little hangover leftover plays where traders now move away from them, and then you get that next leg on down.
CR Trader, he didn't fat finger, and he had 500.
Yeah, he said, "Watch it, baby." He steps up to the plate and he says, "Watch this." Yeah.
Yeah, that's wise. I mean, that's really a sign of experience right there. I mean, knowing when to step up to the plate. That's excellent. Good work, CR.
Yeah. He's definitely. He's my I call him AK-48. So I kind of granted him AK-48 status at my first AKNR did back in January. So I was like, oh man, he's like I said, if you have top traders in your lobby or top students that I've worked with, that would be the one. We did a couple of one-on-ones, and man, he just took off, and he's everyone that I do these one-on-ones was like, man, I want to be just like CR Trader.
Yeah.
I love it. But it's good to have those, success stories. So it really motivates and pushes other traders, to say, hey, if he can do it, I know I can. There's a chance for me to get this too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It just comes to uncommon patience, uncommon discipline. WLDS curling back around to 9.
Here I am when we have, hey guys, have patience. Watch, just discipline, patience. Never, and then I do this some days, and I just wait for that one trade I want to wait for. And what's funny, it ends up being the trade I wanted to begin with that I should have taken. Because if you look back and scroll back up, remember I said I'd love a bounce play at 8. Now watch this bounce play at 8 be the bounce, and then it just keeps going up. Because I switched plans. It kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier. My original game plan was pop up, bounce play at 8, right? And then I was like, it's looking like it's going to come down. Let me get that next leg down. I'll go. And I switched my plan from this, essentially this support area for the crack and the short reversal down. And what's funny now, in the end, my original game plan of the bounce play at 8.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, this is what I would say is probably the biggest thing, kryptonite for traders. Like WLDS for me this morning, I haven't been able to figure out. It was kind of a hangover for me. It popped. I shorted it. I'm like, okay, we're going red. This thing offering, it's offering down at $4. It's going to be heavy today. And I haven't been able to figure it out. I've taken a few losses on it. And you know what? At that point, you just got to stop trading it. I see some people who blow up online and they're asking for help. And I look at their charts, and we went over this, I think, in one of our episodes. You can't see the chart. I mean, it looks like air traffic control how much they're trading it. It's just you can't even see the candlesticks. Like, you got to just know when, if your analysis, if you're not feeling this ticker, if it's not complying with your methodology, you have to step away from it. You can't just marry a ticker. They're not loyal. You gotta
Money Mitch. I don't know where he left his lady. I mean, I usually leave him at Waffle House. I mean, he's leaving his out in the swamp with some gators somewhere. So you can see what they're doing.
The Waffle House. I love the Waffle House.
I do too. I love the Waffle House too. I do too.
I don't mind. Look, I don't need to be served mints at the table and have fancy people. Waffle House is good for me.
If I look over and I see my cook, he's smoking a cigarette. I'm like, hey, as long as you don't put any ash in my food, I know you're a good cook.
Exactly.
He's like, I just got out of my night shift job. Now here I am making breakfast. I haven't had sleep since Tuesday before. These guys just working his butt off. He's like, man, good cooks though. I'm telling you, those people, you'll run into some Waffle Houses, but most of them, good people. They're just trying to make a living. And where, by the way, are you short on the QMs?
Yeah, I'll pull that up. Something I'm at.
Because this looks like it's looking like it's about to start giving back here.
Yeah, I have a. Let's pull that up. I got a few different. I've been working a max and a flex today, but QMMM I'm short at a 97-ish average.
Nice.
90,
Yeah, this looks like it cracks that low of day. Yeah, if this cracks that low of day in 83, this really could start getting, pretty good for you and heading down to yesterday's open area in that 70 area.
Well, it doesn't. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it doesn't take much. I want to try to keep the risk down to a degree on it, but I do want to size into some of these that are working out. So I may hit it with some more shares if we keep on keeping on. Something I've been working on personally myself is sizing into names that are working.
Speaking of working, I wanted that dip by at 850, and boy, I know Michael's loving his open. Here comes 10. And I talked about that earlier. Looks like it could hit open. It could hit 10 today, and it is.
He's had real good discipline in sticking with that open trade. Done very well with that.
Yeah. Speaking of the slow, and that's the thing with a lot of traders, what I tell them early on, you want to have slow and steady trades to begin with. Even like KLR. I mean, that's the thing a lot of the time when I see what, Mitch and Michael are trading, especially here live with traders, it's not the super volatile moves. And that can hurt traders that may try to follow and do what you do. So it also helps for just your own sanity, honestly, and your own trading, just to trade something nice, slow, and steady. And that's why I like this open play. Good long. And again, Michael's been in it for a while. I think this play does continue to 10. And then, like he said, maybe at 10 finally gets a kind of consolidation area, maybe starts to chop around. You go back here to the daily. We're just on this nice, beautiful uptrend overall with nothing really in sight here to hold it down. I'm sure at some point we do get some consolidation. You got to, of course, go far, far, far back in time where they were talking earlier, like this play was the next, Zillow, this, that, and the other. But again, here's your 10 and over 10. Maybe we get up to this 11 area, but I'm thinking somewhere in here we get some consolidation and some sideways chop. But that's one thing I always look at. What have you done for me? When do you do that? This play over the years has never been a play that sits to the side. If you look at it, I mean, it's either going up or it's coming down. A little consolidation, but we're up, and then we're down. Down, 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 down. A little consolidation, but still it's just bouncing, right? There's never an area that we're sitting out to the right. So it will be interesting to see, do we get, in my opinion, that $10 to $11 area, hit some resistance and start seeing some sort of a downtrend form? Because again, if you look at this in the past chart history, last few years, there's never a time that we just kind of consolidate really out to the right. This is like your most recent one, I guess, that you kind of had that, but it doesn't happen often.
I love the analysis. We're either going up or down, folks.
Yeah, I mean,
go in my chat room today. In easy
sideways this way.
Yeah, I like CR Trader. Good point there. I mean, the 5 minute. I was taking a look at what he was saying. I'll show that. On the 5 minute chart, WLDS, you can see the volumes traded. All the volume came in above 820. Using that magic 20, I like it. CR Trader. Long in that 786. Did you get it on this lower wick under VWAP or on this? You think
where
so?
I should have got in at.
So you probably had a limit order waiting here then, for that lower wick. Yeah, I mean, it's a good play there. Absolutely good play. And take profit. And it stops at 850. Good.
Perfecto. Yeah, like I said, it kind of comes back to the original trade I wanted to take, and literally said, I love a bounce at 8. Well, if I love a bounce at 8, what are you doing changing your mind to a short, Josh? But that's just, you can even see however many years in, you're like, okay, I'm going to change it. And when that even happens to someone like me who's done this for a while and has been very successful, it shows you how it bites you right in the butt, where if you just would have stuck to the original plan. I mean, how many one-on-ones I've talked to that and like, so you should have stuck to the original plan there. How many times I've said that, where other traders don't stick to the original plan and change their plan mid trade or whatever it might be, whether you're in a trade or haven't taken the trade. In that original thought process, your original plan, if you just stick to it, works out way more often than you would. I mean, than you would think. And you don't think that. You think, oh no, this is change your mind. It goes back to what Michael's saying. We're just not really programmed as humans to do this daily. It's hard to change that mindset, like you were talking about, and then kind of switching that. I'm in a long. Or whatever it is. I'm in a play working, but you get that timidness of, I got to take profit, versus you get a play that's not working, and for some reason hope comes in, and now all of a sudden you think the Avengers are going to show up and trade, and save your day.
You just have to understand, like we go over, even for example, you're saying you're overthinking in WLDS. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing this. Like we have that human nature that's not prone to doing this, and we tend to overthink some of these things. So you just have to know what the emotions are telling you on these plays. Dude, like to this day, I will struggle with when I'm red, I am more hopeful, and when I'm green, I fear losing it, so I want to take those off. It's a bad. That's not good. I mean, you have to be somewhat greedy on the green side, and then just not be. You got to eliminate that hopefulness on the red side, or just predefine it beforehand and set the OCO order. That makes life easy, right? Set the OCO, makes life easy. Then try to forget about it, just like you do with your P&L. How you won't look at it. Don't do that. You do the same thing with the trades. Don't look at them.
Yep. Yeah. If you can kind of shut that down, it's hard to do, but if you can, that's when I did that early on, which thank gosh, it was one of those things you can just take it off. So I got used to it pretty quick, which was, again, that was just as get rid of the P&L because you're staring at it all the time. It's not looking, looking at it over and over is just not going to be, it's going to be detrimental to your trading like Michael talked about. And so I was like, I got to stop doing this. So I just took it off. And yeah, the more you can simplify the process and say, this is it. Boom. You kind of, almost like when Tiger Woods back in the day, when he'd be, I say back in the day, it's been a while since we saw our man golfing, but back in the day, he'd be on the green and he'd do this with his hat and he'd get all honed in, to his putt or whatever when he's about to make a putt and he's all like that, that's how you have to be with your trading. If you can get like that and you're all honed in, you will trade much better and much cleaner.
Completely agree with you.
I'm just upset I didn't get filled with open. That was a beautiful bounce play, and here it goes all the way up to new high of day and looking to hit 10. And, man, that was a slow and steady eddy. I love that one. That was a beautiful play. Well, my man, any big plans for you this weekend?
Oh, this weekend. Let me take a look at the calendar. It's been a really busy week. My son had Grandparents' Day. I kind of helped out with that yesterday, which was good because I was in Octo hangover, and I couldn't really mess with it. I could have on the phone, but I was distracted, and Octo faded all day. So it really helped out the P&L yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a busy week with the kids. I'm sure we'll do something with them.
I'm kind of seeing that I'm kind of thinking of seeing that same thing Octo with QMs today. So Octo yesterday had that support. I'll pull this up, Octo, and we having it right there at almost the same time frame. But Octo had that like pre-market into support right here. You can see right around 31.50, and then got that big sell off. And we'll see if we get that same thing here today. We kind of that same look for the QMs here, basing out
of position.
For myself.
Yeah,
I would love for this. I don't know if it's going to. If this could pop back on up, but this definitely reeks of.
Oh, you're looking for it to pop for an entry, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to take the short. I just feel like I missed it, like you. I should be in where you are.
That's right.
I'll talk myself out of it and say, yeah, you missed it. It's all good. I'll golf clap you to your victory, KA74.
Yeah, I mean, I do like it. I'm going to kick back with it. That's the beauty of the hangovers. They kind of bleed throughout the day. Octo did that yesterday. By the way, they changed their ticker symbol to ORBS. I mean, Octo, if you look at Octo, it's not trading today. They changed it to ORBS.
I was wondering this morning. I was like, what's going on here? But of course, you on my chart, you can see I'm like, but I looked this morning. I was like, hold on, this is after hours. This isn't moving. And then I click on the news there, and it says it changes the orbs. And and then I said, that's gonna kill it. Because no one's going to figure that out, at least not the normal average day trader. I'm like, that's killed it. That's they're done now.
Yeah, it's still going. The good old orb.
Half to 3/4 of the traders that were in this or looked at it on Monday are going, "Where's Octo at? I don't even know what happened to it, man."
Oh, that's good.
Sorry, I had to pull out the redneck accent there, but I just feel like some country bumpkin was like, "Hey, man, what the heck? I'm in. He's like, I'm in Octo still. What the heck? And you don't even know where to go look that he's in orbs now. That it's like, okay, you're still in Octo. It's just orb.
As he's doing what good old John Webb's doing, drinking a Budweiser, smoking. Yeah. Where's my Octo?
Yeah, man. Hey, honey. What in the heck do I do? Well, call the broker, baby. Maybe they know. I don't know. Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. Hey, bring me another beer and I'll call Robin Hood. I'll call Robin Hood and see where we're at.
Yeah, now that we can short with Robin Hood. Or
Yeah.
whoever. Yeah, they're. I don't know when they're going live with that, but they just announced it. So you'll certainly be getting that on the couch, drinking your
Yeah, right.
Budweiser, smoking. Bring me another beer and get me my phone. I got
Yeah.
Trade Nick.
Got to get the phone off. Can we bring the phone off the hook, honey? Oh, that one broke. We still got the corded one. I'll bring you the corded one. It's got about, I think it'll reach you. That was the thing. Did you have that back in the day, the corded phones, and you had to have a long wire? That was more so early to mid to early 90s. We had one, but it wasn't too long.
Oh yeah, you remember those commercials? They have like the headsets with the phone.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
All black and white, as they're like, oh, you can't drop your phone, and you're like
Yeah,
while you're making dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
It's a massive headset where you attach this huge block to your head.
Yeah, like that thing probably weighed like
Open.
10 pounds.
Oh yeah, open headed for $10. $10 too.
Yeah, she's nice, good move right there. Letting that play go, but again, if you want to look for a dip buy, we may get one pull back down to the 940 area, but I do like this. I wanted it early, and just what I was looking for my dip buy opportunity earlier was actually bouncing off of after hours highs, and it actually teardropped, as I call it, wick to wick almost in a way. That high in that upper shadow right there is 859, and then you come in here and look at the lows, 861 and 859 in that lower shadow. So it literally went wick to wick. I had orders in a little bit lower in this 850, 847 area. I'm always putting a 7 in with my orders. That's just me and my weird, goofy, lucky number. Didn't get filled, though, but beautiful bounce play off of after hours highs there, rolling up to new high of day. Kind of the same concept here. Put orders in from 940 to this upper shadow at 925. If we get that $10 fail, it may go through 10. It's got a lot of bullishness, a lot of volume still pouring into this play as we run into this pre-lunch area that I talk about. So I do love open right there.
Yeah. Good work, CR Trader, on that. What are your thoughts with WLDS? I mean, it kind of had a sloppy seconds move back up towards the high on the day, towards that 950. That's where CR Trader took it. We're still holding that 820 level where all that volume came in, though, C Trader. So it's kind of sitting right there in between, risk reward. It would. Yeah, and you probably have more guys with limit orders set down there to form that, if it does elevator down, probably shoot back up on a lower shadow. I'm just kind of kicking back watching it right now.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I typically like I said, when we get to this time of the day, I'm waiting for that one last trade. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I'll walk away. I've been yapping it up for however long and take a break from doing so much talking, give the chatterbox so to speak, a little bit of a break. And then I move on. The trade didn't happen that I wanted. The original trade I did want did happen right on the trend line, right on the VWAP, right on the $8 mark. It was a gorgeous bounce play. And so I kind of then, I usually start telling myself, well, you should have taken that. That should have been your last trade. Now you're going to push it and still try to go for the short. And I usually would then tell myself here with 10, 15, 20 minutes left to go in my trading day here. I'd say, no, you just let it alone. You've got plenty of pre-market tomorrow. You've got plenty of, hours tomorrow. I know it's a Friday, but you still can find 1, 2, 3 trades tomorrow versus I got to get one in today, because every human, you still have that. I got to get that trade. Let me get that trade. It's going to come. It's going to come. I'm going to get that trade. It's going to come. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get you. You got to let that go. Get rid of that feel and move on. And I've luckily had that to where I'm like, you know what? And then because I'll step away for 3 to 4 minutes and I'll even forget about WLDS, go on with my normal life and whatever I do outside of the office. And I'll come back in here however long later. And then there, and then I'll remember it and see if it worked. And if it worked, it worked. If it didn't, it didn't. But again, it's just like I said, well, Michael's going over, you want to always go over what you're looking at, whether you did take a trade or you're hypothetically thinking about something, go back over and see why exactly it worked or did not work.
Yeah, I mean, because when you take a red trade, oftentimes what's our tendency? It's just to shut the computer down, don't look at it again, right? And so we got to do that.
Shut it down.
Yeah, just like in school. You remember if you ace a test, but it was completely luck, you wouldn't probably look at it, right? You only the losses are the ones we gotta really focus on. Open gravitating towards that $10, man.
Yep,
right up there to 10. Beautiful looking chart. It's just been in a stair step. Had that stair step action on it all day. $10 is coming. It looks like this is an area where it should gravitate up there. We've been calling that all morning, and we'll see if it upper wicks there because that's where there's going to be a lot of orders at.
Another one, too, to look for a move back on up to test that high of day area would be HAO. Watch for this to pop back on up again. It hasn't completely died off yet either fully. Formed that little bit of what I call a little support shelf right there at 158. If it cracked that, then it would be done for today. If it doesn't, stays over that, watch them move through the VWAP, and there'd be another good short opportunity here in the next hour or two on HAO. And that's the thing, you have to have these tickers on watch, or just stick on one and wait for your trade to happen, whatever ticker it is you like and whatever setup it is that you want to attack. Because in the market we're in right now, these things can happen so quickly. Like, again, if I wasn't and didn't have like CR Trader or a limit order here, and just say you did want to take that dip, it happens so quickly that if you weren't looking at it and or B didn't have limit orders in, you're not filled. And that's just where we're at right now. So you have to be on the trades, keeping your eye on them every second, or you're going to miss the move. Unless you're trading like open, which is nice, slow and steady, you'll probably have a little more time to take trades from that one. Bigger float, slower mover, easier time to get in and out of the trade. How's your how you doing? You still in TGL?
No, TGL. I took that off at like $1.50, but got about 17, 18 cents there on. I think it was 800 shares, something like that.
Yep, nice little move. It kept coming on. That's why that one to me is more of one that probably is dead for the day. I don't know if it pops back up. It might.
Yeah, that was just against the pre-market resistance. One of the better plays today. Outside of that, just kicking back with QMMM. I want to trade. I mean, as a degenerate trader, like I have the eagerness right now to trade, but I realize, again, the emotions. I think the edge isn't really presenting itself, so I'm just kicking back.
Speaking over hangover play CWD down more today. That was another one.
I know. I was looking at it too. That was picture perfect too. My only hesitation with CWD, I liked it for the hangover, and it was clear risk there. Like 910, 920 was yesterday's. Right. Like look at yesterday's action. I mean, likely with these plays, likely they stay heavy under all that sideways action where you have longs accumulated the day prior, and it's faded perfectly off of that CWD. So excellent look there. My only hesitation when you look at the daily chart is, well, we just dropped from what, $48 down to $9. Yeah. Like, are we going to get some short covering to get a little pop here today? That was my only hesitation with that one.
That's true when you're talking about a play that's gone that big versus like kind of in a sloppy seconds, but not. But this is one that CR Trader also likes to trade, which is kind of the in a way sloppy seconds, but make the move on an after hours, then you get that short the next day back on down a lot of the time, because a lot of plays that pop up in after hours really don't get that move the next day, continuation anyway, because they've been running for just so long at that point. And traders get bored. They move over to new trades that start popping on up. Didn't quite crack down. I thought VNE would actually make its way back further into the twos, but did not. But that's exactly kind of what KA there, Kevin's talking about, looking for those sloppy seconds, looking for that follow through on the next day. What I like on CWD is when you see this close at around 9:10 and we're opening up right at it or below it.
Yes.
That's usually a key that we'll see some more of this die back if we did.
You nailed it.
Yeah. You can't get back over yesterday's close and you stay at today's open. Bye, as Instinct used to say. Well, they'd say it a little sexier. They'd go, bye. Something like that.
You work a few different edges and doing very well, and you see things fairly objectively. Like you'll take good longs when they present themselves. You'll take and I need to work on being more dynamic like that, because if you can work long and short plays, certainly there's money to be made on both ends.
Yeah, like I said, I've talked about this for a while in my one-on-ones and then going live. I think what helped me so much when we first started, everyone was preaching, teaching, and all the gurus were going long. Everyone go long in small caps and or penny stocks or whatever. No one was really teaching shorting in 2016, 2017. And then plus, there was really no broker to short. And so you were just limited on what you're going to do. Okay, I'm trading small caps, penny stocks, and I'm going long, And so I had to figure out what I was good at then, and it was bounce plays. And so I became such a good bounce trader, and that's all I ever traded was bounce plays, to where if you do that long enough, then if you know where bounce plays are at, you also know where good shorts are going to be coming at, because if you don't get the bounce, what happens? You crack and you go down. And then, you just kind of morph throughout the years. But I think that's what helped me. Was I was such a long trader. That's all I did at first, and then moved over to short, and then can kind of be, like you're saying, almost unbiased and being a referee as much as you can, to be like, I don't care for either team. Just show me the setup and I'll trade it.
Yes. Yeah. Your goal is to make money, not be right.
Right. Yeah.
I completely agree. OPAD, Mitch, if you're in here, OPAD's come right back all the way up. I'm not sure if he's still in that one. But yeah, I was a part of nearly all the chat rooms too. And the thing is, it's like, So there are certain strategies they have, but the main strategy is I need, what they need is thousands of people behind them buying the ticker up, on the low. That's why they focus on those low float plays. And so, not being in those rooms is hard to, certainly you can react to that action. And that's why I leaned like, let's short into that action, the 90 percenters versus, and it's not a bad idea to have eyes and ears in those rooms. So, what are they pumping and what are they dumping?
100%. Yeah, I try to keep my eyes. That's what I was actually talking about yesterday. I was like, I'm still in not all chat rooms, but I'm still kind of in certain areas, so I can see certain what people are talking about, where mobs are drifting to. Because again, like we talked about earlier, the psychological part of this really is so strong that you don't really think about it. But I'm like, hey, you got to have a mental edge to this and seeing what other traders are doing and seeing in trading. That helps you out if you can learn how to then use that to your advantage. Real quickly, I love this too. I was like, oh yeah, this has a top trend channel of resistance. Of course, we'd see the trend line. You go in here and start marking your resistance line, and then you can see fail. And then what's lo and behold, we saw this actually back on Tuesday in this workout, where this resistance area was actually then comes in and you're like, wow, not that it has any correlation to it, but it's cool to see that earlier that was actually, it was for whatever reason, that same angle was bouncing. But this is your uptrend channel you're trading in. So if you're trading like CR trader and you're taking bounce plays down here, you're taking your profit, into this. And as this works itself up, which I think earlier, I think that's kind of in a way why that was CR trader stop loss, was this trend. That trend cracks. I don't think it's going to kill the play and die back on over to, say your entry price at 8,775. But then eventually, in my opinion, this starts to happen. We start moving into a sideways consolidation channel if this uptrend cracks, and you just start chopping sideways more so than chopping in this uptrend channel. Dang it, I should have taken the bounce at 8. I hate when I do that. I look back and I'm like, no. And then you look at open and know exactly where it's going to. And I was like 5-6 cents off from getting filled there. It is what it is. But that to me, we're in the markets we're in now. I'm seeing a lot of that, where I've missed probably in this week alone and last week, because it's been pretty hot regardless, but it got really hot this week. I've probably missed in the past few weeks 5 to 10 plays by probably about 50.
There's always.
Yeah, it's just.
Every day there's a couple we're missing every single day. After calling out the action. Now open has my interest at 10. I want to see what she's going to do there.
Your open interest, huh? It has your open interest?
Yeah, the open
interest.
See what 1020 is going to do there. Because we could see, certainly there's going to be stops over 10. We could get a big old wick up and then some profit taking there. Just curious what she's going to do, because everyone knows the 10's incoming, but outside of that, it's like, are we gonna have investors over 10, or people scooping this thing on up, or are we gonna profit take a bit? So that's what I'm monitoring on OPEN, and then WLDS as lunch hours approach. I've been took some losses there, but I'm still eyeballing it as lunch hours approach. Are we going to start selling off a bit on WLDS?
I would definitely watch for that later in the day. If we crack this trend and kind of channel out to the right, I'd definitely be watching for this area right here to get filled back on down again later in the day. But right now does kind of, not that we have a lot going on today for sure, as far as these spiky plays that are holding their moves. But 100%, if you're looking at small cap plays that look like they could hold or go for more, this is definitely gonna be the one.
Dangerous days for me are when, like in small cap land, there's only one ticker to trade, and then I get too involved with it. That's happened a few times where there's only the one ticker to trade, and I'm just sitting here like trading. I remember CYN was one of them. A few different plays where it's like there's nothing else in small cap land, and they lure you into them, and you just gotta kick back, have that patience.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, that's just and that happens to a lot of traders. You kind of start marrying that ticker when there's only one thing to trade, and so you kind of start forcing a little bit more so than and that's the thing with traders. It just depends on where your trading style is. Is it with one ticker? Do you like to float around and kind of move yourself from one to one, so you're not, one to another, so you're not stuck on one all day long? And I've seen that where I like, plays like QMMM where everyone's over on it. Obviously, you saw, I was like, I love that. I'm like, I fiend that. I love it. I have a fiend for it. Like, give me just that one mega mover. Of course, Octo on Monday. that helps me out because then I focus in, hone in, and I find my one area, take 1-2 trades, and that's it. Know, like, okay, let me get one. If I can get 1-2 trades here, I'm gonna bank because
So
everyone's here.
that trade you took, were you anticipating that halt into that? Like, what would your stop have been if it just immediately starts, retracing or profit taking? How do you manage that?
Yeah. Essentially, what I would do is always in that area. I never really have, and typically, again, if you find the right entry price, which again, what we're trying to do all the time, you're usually green right away. I remember talking to multiple traders in the past. If you're not green within the first, this is a normal day trade, 3 to 5 minutes,
then take it
probably
off.
no, right. Well, this is the same thing, but I leave it right at my stop loss, or my stop loss is my entry. So as soon as I'm in the play, I'm usually green right away because you're getting in, boom, it's flying up.
That's good. That's good. That's wise. Stop loss being the entry. That's funny because when you're shorting Euphoria, you're usually red when you enter the play. And you're getting like used and comfortable with that.
Yeah. And that's why I've said it's all the way back to when I started shorting and become more of known almost, across the board as a shorter, really shorting more so in 23 and 24. I mean, you go to 23, 24, and even into this year, I'm 80 to 90% of my trades are shorts and small caps. But now, because the market conditions have flipped, then I said that for the longest time. Like, there's going to be a time I know where I'm going to flip and I'm not going to be shorting as much and I'll be looking for more longs. And I always said this, I make way more money per capita on my longs versus shorts because of that kind of trades like QMM or CWD or Octo, where I get in those plays and I can get 10, 20 points, which is nuts, to think about the amount of money you can make there. I've never made that money shorting because I'm never in a short that then crashes away $3, $4, $5, $10. It just never happens, I love shorts. They happen more often. You see them, but it isn't like you don't get these parabolic shorts. You don't get plays that go from 100 down to 5. You get plays that go from 5 to 100 more often. When I say more often, but you'll see that, it's usually oh, what? And you'll see a play because of whatever happened. And someone said, man, whatever's dumping today. And it's like your dead cat bounce you're talking about, but you're seeing a play go from $50. It was at 50, 50, 50. And then it was a $50 play, but for whatever reason had bad news or whatever. And it's all the way back down to 5. And you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I missed that. That just doesn't happen often. You'll get these times where, like now, you see a play go from 5 or 10 or whatever to 300 in a day. That is, and then multiple this week, QMs, that's the biggest one, but you had CWD go from 5 to 50. You had Octo go from whatever, you've had some crazy banger plays. You just don't get shorts that do that, unfortunately. Now you get maybe sometimes that backside move, like we're waiting on maybe on the QM play, but still then again, it's not like crash down, halt down, gap down, halt, you don't really get that, crazy move a lot of the time back on down. And that's why I love those moves up.
Well, I like what you said on as far as the risk goes. I mean, the risk is the entry. I think that's what separates you and why you find such success. And that's what newer traders need to hear. Because they'll get in and they'll be like, you ask them, what's the risk here? And I mean, give it a little wiggle room here. I might size into it a little bit,
Yeah. And that means they don't have a stop loss.
I'm getting a better average.
Yeah. That means they had no plan whatsoever, and this play's going to the moon, they think, or something. But exactly.
Put your space boots on. We're going to the moon. Yeah.
Doing that too much with traders, I see it all the time where and a lot of time they'll even have a good entry price and mindset of where they should trade, but they have no target or stop loss. I'm like, well, how do you have a great entry price, but then you just had no wherewithal at all for whatever reason, as much as we talk about it, to have a stop loss and a target, in ahead of time of where you're taking this trade. And so many don't, they create a plan and they start creating a plan and get to about right here with it instead of going all the way through with the plan. Like, all right, I got an entry price. Let's go. All right. And I'm like, no. What's your target? Where are you getting out at? Where's your stop loss going to be at? And OPAD, nice little spike up there, little U-shape back on around. I don't know if, Money Mitch is still in there. There's your
$5.
Coil back over a little bit at that $9.95, close to $10 mark. So you are finally getting a little bit of fail at 10 and some sellers. And I think a lot. I mean, that's more so profit taking. I think that's more profit taking people that were in. They're seeing close enough to 10. That's good enough for them.
CR Trader, good analysis there. It hasn't quite made it to 10 yet. I was looking for that trader. I mean, I'm glad Noss isn't in here because I'm kind of leaning a little short up and above 10. Just for an intraday, this is not a swing, but just an intraday move here. I agree, trader. We're going to see likely some profit taking there. We could be pulling in off of it right now. I hit 994 is the high. So we'll monitor that, and then Wilds WLDS. I'm still looking at WLDS. I just want to see what this is going to do on a pullback. Like if it immediately spikes back up, that to me is just going to keep me away from it. If it's kind of that will invalidate it for me. If it's just longs are there and it's just kind of a manipulated name, the market maker's dream essentially, that like we've been going over. It's just going to chop around all day. That's what I'm looking at. I just want to see, is this going to just keep chopping around? Are we going to confirm here that it's going to volumes fading and we're going to get weak? Or are they going to take this opportunity to squeeze it out again? So confirmation over anticipation, certainly something I look for. I agree, Trader, CR Trader. I'm looking at both of those as well, WLDS and Open.
Open, speaking of, we got to close down shop. Any last questions from traders out there, throw them out in chat. We'll answer them for sure and give you any kind of insight that we have. I'll give you my last little thoughts, and it'd be OPAD. OPAD's trying to hold after hours high. We saw that with Open at around open earlier, but 480 would be the high of day for OPAD, I should say, after hours. So it's trying to hold that right now. If you're looking for a bounce play, I like 460. So wait for this to come back down to 460 for the pullback. Then the safer bounce would be down here around that 440 area, this little bull flag and that VWAP. I do like that. That's going to be moving here when me and Kevin shut down shop is what I meant, or shut up. And then your other one to keep your eye on would be WLDS, as far as more, I would say, volatile movers, but more volume and bigger moves. This is your other one. And then Open's your slow and steady mover. This play is going to hold up today. I would be looking for a bounce play, as I call them. I have two areas usually for bounce plays, like I showed you on OPAD. Are usually a risky area and a safer area. Your risky area here would be right around this 940 to 920 mark, and your safer area is back down here right around 885 into that 875 roll and the VWAP. That would be your safer dip buy. I like these four plays for the rest of the day. UNH is also a really big mover for large caps. I like Circle as well. But those will be my plays heading into today. And then for the Friday, I've already talked about this earlier, team. Anticipate this. Tomorrow, we're going to have a lot of movers in pre-market again, and we're going to look at this one, and we're going to look at Octo again, and QMs again. We're going to have that effect, and then we're going to have new trades that we're going to be looking at tomorrow morning 100%. We're going to have new trades in Power Hour and After Hours, or After Hours and PRs coming up, just like we did yesterday. And so anticipate that. More spikes, more PRs, more plays that are popping up, but they're coming down and crashing so fast. So notice that. If you're getting PRs that pop up and they're not holding, they're coming back down, tomorrow could be the dud day of, well, we're going to get another one. Are we going to get anything else? And it's even slower than today. Or we're getting that downtrend break. We're going to have a crazy 1,000, 2,000% mover, and it's on like Donkey Kong again. And get ready for not only tomorrow, but into Monday, because it's going to carry over into Monday. You guys have a great, safe, blessed, food-filled weekend. Let's go Broncos, and let's go Hogs and my college football and my pro teams there. And I'm done for me. How about you, Kevo?
Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better. Great work, guys. Go green and stay green. Ride or ride out mentality. And, today what we want to focus on is really just not over leveraging and sizing and having ego on one specific trade. We want to focus on the distribution. The edge is made through repetition. Casinos are focused on the repetition of millions of hands, not one individual hand. Right. And that's what we want to replicate. We want to replicate, the edge over a series of trades, not one specific trade. I remind myself of that all the time because I'm prone to error there as well, falling in love with individual tickers. But yeah, guys, stay disciplined, stay safe out there. Great work, all. WLDS, monitoring this as it pulls back in. Same tickers as Mr. Josh is trading. Appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week.